Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. We are back. We took a nice little 2-week vacation. Draft process really wears you out, and we decided to take the extra week off. Plus, our buddy, loyal listener, K-Dog, he got married, so we were prepping for that. Shout out to K-Dog and his lovely wife. Beautiful ceremony. We appreciated the invite. That's Nicholas. I'm Theo. How you doing?
Doing great. Glad to be back. Ready to talk about the draft, dude. We haven't talked about the draft much because we've been waiting to do it on the pod. So,
yeah.
We obviously spent the draft together all 3 days. K-Dog came over for night one. It was a blast. Great day. And then we've just been chilling since, dude. And it's been great. Much needed. Some rest, relaxation. But now we're back. We're back to talk about the draft, baby.
Got to see Thunderbolts, too, on top of the little break.
Hell yeah,
excellent movie. Go check it out if you haven't.
For sure.
Social media, at @DraftedUp_pod, over on Twitter/X. More importantly, the show, Spotify, Apple, wherever you find your podcast. Search Drafted Up Podcasts. Do whatever you need to do. Like, rate, subscribe, review, all that stuff. You can watch the show on YouTube. Again, search Drafted Up Podcasts. Subscribe, review, share, all that good stuff. We appreciate all of the support from you guys.
Helps the pod out. We love it. We love the loyal listeners. That's what we're here for. Just to help the common man out with the grind of football knowledge, dude.
We are the Everyman's podcast. There's no attachment to any television network or podcast network. We're two guys
grinding,
doing the American dream.
Hell yeah, brother.
I suppose. Before we jump into all that, our post-draft coverage is brought to you by our friends over at Finley Hats. Y'all know by now, I'm a big hat guy. For those that have watched, I usually have a hat on every episode. And the people at Finley Hats are creating hats for good times and unlike any other hat on the planet. They have a lifetime warranty. So if your hat is damaged or destroyed, they'll repair it or replace it. They've got laces, which you can secure your hat if you're out on the boat, fishing, or just, windsurfing, all that good stuff, or you're just running routes in the backyard. You got to keep that hat on your head. They also have a little inside pocket. I don't know if you could see it on video, but it's there. You could stick cash in there. You can stick your business cards or some recreational fun. If that is your cup of tea, you can stick that in there. So join the Finley Force. And if you click the link that will be provided in the episode info, new buyers will get 15% off their purchase. Click the link, support the force over at Finley Hats, support the podcast as well. They, just like us, were two people who started in their living room and grew their business. They're a Oregon-based business, and they're just living the dream, and they got a huge selection: snapbacks, dad hats, beanies. They got mystery boxes. They do flash drops every Friday. So check out finleyhats.com, or click the link in the episode description, and you'll get 15% off if you are a new buyer.
Hell yeah, hat sponsor. We're doing it. Living the dream. Just doing it big. No casual thing.
Yeah, living the dream, surviving the nightmare.
Oh, it's been one.
Yeah, brother. Okay, let's talk draft.
Let's talk draft.
Do we want to get the Shadur Sanders thing out of the way? Or do we want to save him for when we talk about the Cleveland?
Well, let's save it, dude.
Okay.
I get we haven't talked about it on the pod, but everyone has talked about Sanders for the last 2 weeks, so
I'm actually
we'll just save the listener. I am exhausted from hearing about it 100%.
That's probably why I've been dreading doing the episode. So
I couldn't agree more, man.
I just do not want to
gotta talk about Sanders.
Yeah. We want to start with AFC?
Yeah, let's dip in.
All right, so we're not going to do traditional draft grades, like using the school system to grade. So we're just going to rank. We're going to rank them by division, which class we thought was our favorite, least favorite, go down there. I do have grades listed, so I can kind of give you a leeway of kind of where I think. But I thought a lot of the drafts before we dive in were solid, just B drafts, just like this draft class. It was just a lot of B-rated players, no superstars. I thought 3 teams really knocked it out of the park, and we'll get to them here shortly. 3 A-plus drafts in my eyes.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. AFC East. The Buffalo Bills. At pick 30 in the first round, they drafted your guy, Maxwell Hairston, the corner from Kentucky. Second round, pick 41, they drafted TJ Sanders, the defensive tackle from South Carolina. Pick 72 in the third, Landon Jackson, the edge rusher from Arkansas. Fourth round, Deion Walker, defensive tackle from Kentucky. 2 fifth-round picks, they drafted Jordan Hancock, nickelback, safety, corner combo from Ohio State, and Jackson Halls, the tight end from Georgia Tech. 6th round, 2 picks, Dorian Strong, corner from Virginia Tech, and Chase Lunt, the offensive tackle from Connecticut. And in the 7th round, Caden Prather, the wide receiver from Maryland.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I love their draft. Like, for sure, Buffalo had a great draft. I didn't do the school system rankings, but I loved Maxwell Harrison. He's the guy that's going to be able to get Josh Allen the ball back. He's such a good ball hawk. And like their draft is showing you that like they're set on offense. They went defense almost across the board for a good amount of it. Like the front picks are all defense, dude. Harrison, Sanders, Jackson. And I love where Jackson went. He didn't go in the second round, which I was very happy to see. I wasn't as high as Landon Jackson as most people, but around 72, I had him like high 90s, so it's not too far off. What do you think about the Deion Walker pick, though, at 109?
Not my cup of tea. Like, Buffalo needed run stuffers. TJ Sanders is good at that, but he's more of your speed interior guy, can push the pocket. Deion Walker, like, I guess that's what they want him to be, and I just don't think he's capable of stopping the run at a high level at the NFL level. I just think he's too big. Like, he's 6'7". Like, it's hard to create leverage when you're that tall and really force the issue to be a run stuffer, but incredible upside. So I understand taking the shot. That's probably whereabout I thought he was going to go, was in the 100s to 150s. And Buffalo is the team to take their shot on him. But
he goes to such a, like, I don't hate or love the pick, but he goes to a really good situation where he can just be a rotation guy for this line that has so many guys on it now. This line's stacked. I love their defensive line. And Walker's just another guy that can just be thrown in there, keep him fresh, and just have him play, half the snaps that he needs to.
They did a great job of creating depth on the defensive front, which they needed. They also got TJ Sanders. I love that the NFL loved him going second round. I was actually a little bit surprised about that, but
loved it.
No complaints there from me. Maxwell Hairston, he's a game changer at corner, and they needed corner depth, and that showed in the playoffs last year. They were depleted, and they had to play Kyron Elam, and the Chiefs just started picking on Elam, and that just turned the system there. And
I love Hancock too, the Ohio State.
Yeah, Hancock,
DB.
he could do safety, nickelback, so he could do a little bit there, and they needed safety help, so I think he's going to probably play a little bit of safety.
I think he's going to make meaningful snaps for this team as a 5th round pick.
That's how I feel about Dorian Strong in the 6th. Dorian Strong was just outside my top 100. He was like my 104th ranked player. They got him in the 6th round. I thought he was closer to Maxwell Hairston than like my ranking wise. Like I had Hairston like 6 on my corner. I had Dorian Strong at 10. Like I think they're really close. I think Dorian Strong is also going to compete for meaningful snaps. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he has the learning curve over Maxwell Harrison. He plays more meaningful stuff, and Harrison's there to just kind of play big play ball, try to change the game. Chase Lunt, he's their style lineman, big guy. He's going to back up Spencer Brown.
Good depth
Jackson
guy.
Hall's blocking tight end. He's not going to really play a big part.
No, especially when you have
creating
2 receiving tight ends already, so he's not going to be much.
But their top 3 guys, Landon Jackson the third, I thought was great value.
For sure.
TJ Sanders in the second, Maxwell Harrison. I think, then Jordan Hancock and Dorian Strong, I think, are all going to be meaningful players for this team. I ultimately landed them second in the division.
Okay.
There's one team where I thought was a little bit better than them.
Yeah, we'll get there, but I would have them definitely towards the top 2 in this division. I thought Buffalo did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Miami Dolphins. First round, they drafted Kenneth Grant, 13. Second round, they traded up and drafted Jonas Savanaia, the interior lineman from Arizona. And then they didn't pick again until the 5th, where they had 3 fifth-round picks. They drafted Jordan Phillips, the defensive tackle from Maryland, Jason Marshall Jr., the corner from Florida, Dante Trader Jr., the safety from Maryland. 6th round, Ollie Gordon, the running back from Oklahoma State. And then in the 7th round, Quinn Ewers, quarterback from Texas, and Zeke Biggers, the defensive tackle from Georgia Tech. Miami's standpoint, was just get big in the middle of the defense.
Yeah, and they did that.
And they hammered that need down, locked in. A great job there. But how do they not address the secondary? Like, there's talks they're going to move on from Jalen Ramsey. They lost Javon Holland to the Dolphins, and then they like Jason Marshall. No offense to him, he's not that kind of player. He's a depth piece at corner.
Yeah, their corners are going to be depleted, dude.
And like I think Dante Trader starts for this team, and I think he'll be fine. I like that pick more than Marshall Jr. Marshall Jr. wasn't my cup of tea. I had like a 7th round grade on him. So
yeah, like I get they drafted these two guys, but like Trader's gonna play more than Marshall. I don't like the Marshall pick at all. I to the point where I don't even think he adds to their secondary. And if he proves me wrong, I'll eat the words. But I'm not huge on Miami's draft, dude. Like I had Kenneth Grant in my 20s, lower 20s. So at 13's a bit of a reach, and then they traded up for Big Jonah, who I love. I love Big Jonah. And he does give them an option.
Not at 37, though.
Not at 37, though. But he can play tackle or guard for them, and we'll see what happens. But they drafted like 3 nose tackles, which makes me think Grant's going to be like they're going to move him around on that line, where he's not just going to be the middle guy, because Jordan Phillips is the middle guy. He's a legitimate nose tackle. So is Biggers.
I love that value in the 5th round.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He was another guy just outside my top 100. They got at 143.
Good value.
I thought that was good value for him. Who would have thought, if you said during spring that Quinn Ewers and Ollie Gordon were going to be 6th and 7th round picks, you'd be like, steals of the draft.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love Ollie Gordon's spot here. They need a power back.
Power back, which they don't have.
So he's not going to be a guy they need to rely on, but he could get meaningful snaps just like a couple of the guys in Buffalo as like a 6th round pick. And Quinn Ewers is just a dart thrower, dude. Who cares? A 7th round pick on one of the top nation's prospects. So I
think
get
that's a great landing spot for him. He can kind of just settle in, be the third stringer, and eventually be the backup. And there's a chance he ends up being the starter one day with Tua's injury history, and maybe he finally lives up to the value, and if he doesn't, it was a 7th round pick.
Yeah, who cares?
But I think developmental wise, it's a good spot for him. But yeah, this was maybe my least favorite draft in the whole NFL.
It's pretty close, dude. Yeah, just like the reach on Grant, and it doesn't sound like a huge reach for like 10 spots, but there's only 12 guys picked before him. He wasn't my defensive tackle 2. He was like defensive tackle 4 in my eyes. So I think they could have went a different way in the 1st round. And I don't think I get why they traded up for Big Jonah. Linemen were going very hot commodity on draft night. But the trade up when you don't pick again until the 5th, it just doesn't sit right with me, dude.
Yeah, I think they would have been safe trading back to like 18, 19. Obviously, there would have to be a suitor. Because like I think the Chargers, if Kenneth Grant was there, that's where they would have went. But if they could, like, you got to figure somebody wanted to try to jump Indianapolis for Tyler Warren. That's where I kind of said, like, if they would have traded back and drafted Kenneth Grant at 18, I would have liked it a little bit more. Plus, it gets them some extra picks, which they clearly needed.
They could have traded back and got Derek Harmon. I think that's a better fit.
Yeah.
Because you got your 2 nose tackles, and Derek Harmon gives you a guy that can play a little bit on the outside of the line or inside. He's more versatile than Kenneth Grant's going to be. But Kenneth Grant has amazing upside, so I do get the pick. Yeah. Not many 340-pound men move like Kenneth Grant moves. So if he hits his like true peak, they got a good pick here, but I don't know if that's going to pan out.
Yeah. Looking at their depth chart, it does have Big Jonah locked in at right guard, which makes sense. And then it has Grant Phillips and Zeke Biggers all together at nose tackle, backing each other up.
That's crazy.
So, interesting mindset there. Ollie Gordon as the 4th running back behind Jalen Wright, Alexander Madison, and Devon Achane. But yeah, draft, I just thought it was handled poorly, especially with like the rumors of people moving around and just wasn't crazy about where they took their guys. Like, I like the talent. I think Kenneth Grant's a good talent. Don't like him at 13. I think Jonah's a good talent. Don't like him at 37. I like Jordan Phillips at 143. Jason Marshall, not my cup of tea. I like Dante Trader. I thought that was a good value at 155. Ollie Gordon, Quinn Ewers, also good value. At Zeke Biggers, dart throw at the end of the 7th round. Just gives you another big guy
big body.
Plug the gap.
True nose tackle. But it's hard to sit here and be like, oh, I like all these 5th round, 6th round picks when they didn't pick in the 3rd, they didn't pick in the 4th. So you're missing out on like this draft was deep in the 3rd and 4th rounds, and you're missing out on it. And they do have a lot of good 5th round guys here, but come on, dude, like it's so hard for all these 5th round guys to develop properly because it just doesn't pan out. They're 5th round picks for a reason. But I do expect some of them to actually be pretty meaningful. I think Jordan Phillips is going to be a good nose tackle. You like Trader a lot. I really like Ollie Gordon in this role as just a power back. And yeah, like we said, Quinn Ewers is just a dart throw, so it doesn't matter. But he could develop.
They moved up from 48 to 37, so
yeah, big jump.
9 spots, and they gave up 98 and 135.
Yeah, they gave up their middle picks.
Yeah,
to get Jonah.
So, yeah.
It's a lot.
If Jonah works out and he becomes a 10-year starter, hey, then the trade's worth it in essence, but a little rich for my liking.
Yeah, Grant and Big Jonah just a little bit rich for.
New York Jets, 1st round, they stayed put. They drafted Armin Membu, the offensive tackle from Missouri. 2nd round, they drafted Mason Taylor, the tight end from LSU. 3rd round, Azareye'h Thomas, corner from Florida State. 4th round, Arian Smith, wide receiver, Georgia, and Malachi Moore, the safety from Alabama. And then 2 5th rounders, both from Miami. Francis Mauigoa, the linebacker, and Tyler Barron, the edge rusher. Like I said, both from Miami. I got to learn Francisco's last name because his brother's going to be in the draft next year, and he's probably going to be a top 20 selection.
As a Miami fan, I can't pronounce that name, so you said it better than I do. But the Jets are a really good example of how do we want to play the board. Do we want to go tight end in the 1st and then try to get a lineman in the 2nd? Or do we just want to go with Membu, who is a really good prospect, and miss out on Tyler Warren and Loveland and hope we get a tight end later? And Mason Taylor fell right into their laps.
Yeah.
The Jets played that beautifully.
Yeah, not only is Membu a good prospect, but he's the exact kind of lineman they need. They need a right tackle, and that is where Membu is slotted here for the NFL. And then Mason Taylor did fall into their lap. I thought that was great value. And same with Azareye'h Thomas in the 3rd round at 73. I like that get for them. And then it kind of went haywire. I really like the Malachi Moore pick at 130.
Oh, I love that pick for sure.
I think he is an Aaron Glenn kind of player. I think he can start from day one.
I think 100%
smart
agree.
Football player. I think he's going to play meaningful time. Arian Smith, I had an undraftable grade on him. Yeah. I did not like him. I'll be honest. I didn't watch a lot of Mauigoa, and Tyler Barron right about where I thought he would. He that's right about where I had him ranked. He was inside my top 200, so 176. That's a fine pick, but the Arian Smith pick is what really just
it's wild, dude.
He is just a true deep threat receiver for a team that needs like consistent wide receiver play. I don't think you're going to get that with Arian Smith.
No, you're not going to get that, especially at like 110, dude. That's just way too rich for this guy. But I really like the top 3 picks, dude. I love Membu at right tackle. Mason Taylor is going to add a lot for Justin Fields. And then AZ Thomas can step into that secondary. And Aaron Glenn's going to mold him great. He can play zone phenomenally. No, he can play man phenomenally. It's been a hot minute.
But
Malachi
you can worry
Moore,
about the speed and everything.
But Malachi Moore has the same problems. You've seen the guys they drafted.
Yeah.
They drafted really good football players. They don't care about your 40 times. Malachi Moore and AZ Thomas are going to be playing a ton for this team. And I think both could be starters for the next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
but other than that, No, you go. You're good.
Yeah, they signed Brandon Stevens from Baltimore, and that's who Azareye'h Thomas is backing up. So not a lot in front of him holding him back. So there could be meaningful playing time for him. I think they will ease him in a little bit, but I think come midseason, he's probably starting opposite of Sauce Gardner, and Malachi Moore got Tony Adams. So I think there's meaningful playing time for those guys. I think Barron, I'm fine with where he went. Like I said, he plays a rotational. He'll spill Will McDonald, and I think that's best for him. He is a situational pass rusher in my eyes. So, but yeah, the top 3 really carry this draft. You got two to 4 starters, essentially. Membu and Mason Taylor are going to play off the jump.
100%.
And then,
Thomas and Moore.
even Arian Smith might get the play. Like, if you look at the Jets' depth chart at wide receiver, it's abysmal.
He's going to play, yes, because of how bad the receivers are. But I don't know, man. Oh, God. There's a couple good receivers out there on free agents. The Jets need to make a move.
Their receiving depth chart goes 15 deep.
Yeah, and it's 14 garbage men and Garrett Wilson.
Well, do not disrespect Minnesota Golden Gopher legend Tyler Johnson.
Sure, dude.
I will not stand for that slander.
Ugh,
Josh Reynolds is okay too.
I disagree.
These
guys are number 4 receivers.
I would take Josh Reynolds over Alan Lazard, who's the other receiver in the group.
Who's a number 4 receiver? The Jets have number 4 receivers and Garrett Wilson.
Malachi Corley, Arian Smith, Tyler Johnson.
4 receiver.
Xavier Gibson. They're truly living that Packers mindset. Be like, we have one elite guy, and we'll just plug and play dudes here. But Mason Taylor, Armin Membu, starters off the jump. I think Azaria Thomas is also going to be a starter come mid-season.
Yep, I agree.
And I think Malachi Moore is going to play some meaningful time. I think Aaron Glenn's going to really love the kind of player he is.
He's too smart to keep off the field, dude.
Yeah. And then the New England Patriots. This one's going to be a list. Here we go. First round.
Ton of picks.
They stayed put, drafted Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. Second round, Trevion Henderson, the running back from Ohio State. 2 third-round picks, Kyle Williams, wide receiver from Washington State, and Jared Wilson, the center from Georgia. 2 fourths, Craig Woodson, your guy, safety from Cal, and Joshua Farmer, the defensive tackle from Florida State. 5th round, Braden Swinson, the edge rusher from LSU. 6th round, Andres Borregales, the place kicker from Miami. 3 7th-round picks, Marcus Bryant, tackle from Missouri, Julian Ashby, long snapper, Vanderbilt, and Mr. Irrelevant, Kobe Minor, the corner from Memphis. This is one of my A-plus drafts.
Smart. Phenomenal draft. Truly phenomenal. New England understood the assignment of we have a franchise quarterback. We need to protect our main asset. And they got him a line. They got him weapons. I love it. I love everything.
Yeah.
Will Campbell is a phenomenal, even if he has to kick in and play guard. I get you don't want to draft a guard at 4, but he's going to get his chance to tackle, so we'll see what happens. Trevion Henderson's the perfect complement back to Ramondre Stevenson. Mm-hmm. And even if you want to get rid of Ramondre after this season, Henderson could just work the load. It's fine.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams is speed. This is what this receiving crew was missing, dude. So I love that. Jarrett Wilson can kick out to guard if they don't want to play him over Bradbury this year. Or at some point they just play him over Bradbury because Jarrett Wilson's
Bradbury's on a short deal, and as a Vikings fan, he's not. I'd rather kick Bradbury to guard over Cole Strange and start Jared Wilson. I think that's better long term.
They're just gonna have their best 5 guys out there.
Yeah, you potentially got starters in Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, Trevion Henderson, Kyle Williams off the jump. Braden Swinson in the 5th.
Dude, I don't know
how
the
fell.
NFL saw. Yeah, that's phenomenal, dude. That's such a good. Even Joshua Farmer, I had him in my top 100, and he went 137. Craig Woodson, I love the safety from Cal, dude. Like New England right off the bat, dude, so good. And then we don't rank kickers, but they had my number 1 kicker as well from Miami. Yep.
They got the number 1 kicker,
everything,
and the number 1 long snapper.
Crazy to see a long snapper drafted in the draft. I love it.
And your boy Craig Woodson, they're not even listing him as a safety on the depth chart. He's listed as their backup nickel. So
I like that.
Yeah, Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers there. So you could be looking at playing time here, and don't be surprised. Like Braden Swinson right now is listed as the 3rd edge rusher from the right side. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves past Kalavian Chasen and Anthony Jennings come mid-season. Braden Swinson, he was in my top 75. He's a good football player. They got him at 140-something. Trevion Henderson's going to play meaningful time. He gives a good spill option for Drake May out of the backfield. He's, like you said, perfect complement to Ramondre and a big upgrade over Antonio Gibson. No disrespect to the legend that is Antonio Gibson, but Trevion Henderson brings a different dynamic to this football team. Kyle Williams, who I loved now, like this become a deep receiving room in New England with
There's
at
a lot
least
of bodies.
name-wise.
Yeah.
Demario Douglas, Mac Hollins, Steph Diggs, Kendrick Bourne, Keyshawn Boutte, Kyle Williams, and then they drafted Baker and Polk last year, and I think their days are numbered. I think we're probably looking more at a room that's Kyle Williams, Mac Hollins, Pop Douglas, Steph Diggs, Boutte, and Bourne. Maybe Kendrick, Jalen Polk gets in over Bourne if they can move Kendrick Bourne, but
I agree. I think Polk still has a chance. I don't think Baker does at all, which is heartbreaking to me. I love Baker coming out last year, but
yeah.
New England, as of right now, is my team to do what Washington did last year. I really love New England's offseason to really just turn this around. They have their franchise quarterback. They're surrounding him with nothing but talent and a protection, and they brought in a world-class coaching team. And that's what you need to do in an offseason. New England has completely understood everything that needed to be done for Drake May this offseason.
Yeah, they won the draft and they won the offseason. They did a phenomenal job since the new league year started. And Drake May is going to be on a lot of my fantasy teams. I think he's going to be great value.
I hope so.
All right. Ranking-wise, I had New England 1, Buffalo 2, the Jets 3, and Miami last.
Yep, that's exactly how I would have it.
All right. AFC North. Cincinnati. First round, Shamar Stewart, edge rusher, Texas A&M. Second round, my man, Demetrius Knight Jr., linebacker from South Carolina. Dylan Fairchild, the guard from Georgia in the third. Barrett Carter, linebacker Clemson in the fourth. Jalen Rivers, swing tackle, interior offensive lineman from Miami in the fifth, and Taj Brooks, the running back, in the sixth.
Workhorse at Texas Tech, dude. Workhorse at Texas Tech.
Yeah. And the perfect compliment to Chase Brown. Get rid of Zach Moss.
He's a better Zach Moss. Yeah, for sure.
And then P. Ryan can do whatever P. Ryan, third downs and blocking situations.
I didn't even know P. Ryan was there, dude.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep, they brought him back.
This draft was okay.
Yeah, the classic Bengals draft. They hit needs.
It's fine.
They got 3 defensive players. Demetrius Knight probably going to be a starter from day one. Shamar Stewart, he is the Bengals type.
I think there's a legitimate chance every defensive guy they draft is a starter. That's how weak this defense is.
Well, they only play 2 linebackers, so Jermaine Pratt's going to be cut.
Yeah.
Demetrius Knight will start in that spot. Logan Wilson's a good middle linebacker. Barrett Carter's going to be your special teamer, backup both linebacking spots. Shamar Stewart probably going to be starting,
For sure.
especially if Trey Hendrickson's a no-go, but
he needs to be there for this guy, dude.
He's their type, though. The big Joe, and he's going to create sacks for Trey Hendrickson with his pressure rate. He doesn't finish, so he's going to create this havoc, and it's going to open things up for Trey Hendrickson to have even more sacks. And this dude led the league in sacks last year.
It's a gift and a curse not to be able to finish, dude. So it's going to help Henderson out a lot, though, for sure.
Yeah,
and Fairchild, I love Fairchild, dude. He's going to be able to instantly be able to play if they need a guard.
Yeah, I think he'll be starting next year, not this season.
I agree, but if the opportunity comes up, he's ready to slide in.
And then they brought in Seth.
Too.
They brought in Seth McLaughlin, the center from Ohio State. He went undrafted, but I thought that was a nice pickup for them as a guy who could be a good depth piece there. But Taj Brooks, I think he's an upgrade over Zach Moss. But I think from a real life and fantasy standpoint, this is a put your chips in on Chase Brown because the Bengals did not address that early.
100% agree.
It's still his backfield until he loses it, and I just don't think he does. But a little upside there going forward with Chase Brown.
Briefly talking about that, we were talking about Achane and where he's going to get drafted. I would personally draft Chase Brown over Devon Achane just based off the Bengals offense. I'm linking myself to that offense, dude. And Chase Brown was an absolute dog in the stretch of the fantasy season that mattered. He carried a ton of teams through the playoffs.
Yeah. This is just a solid, okay draft. The Bengals they don't trade down or move up, so these are just their picks.
Yep.
They got. I think Demetrius Knight. I had him in my top 35. I loved him, so I think at 49, it's great value. I know a lot of people think that's more of a reach, but I think he could be an impact player on this defense from the start. I think Dylan Fairchild has long-standing upside as a starting guard here. So they did two things. They addressed the defense, and they got offensive linemen to protect Joe Burrow.
Yeah, for sure. You want like 3 starters out of the draft. I think they got that next season when Fairchilds is a starter. Stewart, Knight, Fairchild's all going to start. Rivers can be a rotation guy. I like what they did for sure. But it's the Bengals. They're not going to get flashy in the draft.
Nope. All right, Cleveland.
Oh, here we go.
They traded out a pick 2. They did not get Travis Hunter. They drafted Mason Graham at 5.
They got a haul, though, baby. They got a haul for pick 2.
Yes. Second round, 2 seconds. They drafted Carson Schwessinger, linebacker from UCLA, and Quinshon Judkins, the running back from Ohio State. Third round, 2/3, Harold Fannin Jr., tight end Bowling Green, and Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback from Oregon. Fourth round, Dylan Sampson, another running back, Tennessee. And then fifth round, Shadur Sanders, quarterback from Colorado. Cleveland had more players in my top 100 than any other team in the draft. So I can't fault them. But I'm also not going to give them credit for taking Shadur Sanders at 144.
I agree.
Because you passed on him
at
3 rounds in a row before
94?
That.
Yeah, 94. So you picked a quarterback in Dylan Gabriel.
If they would have picked Shadur at 94 and then Gabriel at 144, this would be a perfect draft class. Schwessinger, they drafted about 20 spots higher than I had him ranked. Same with Quinshon Judkins. Same with Harold Fannin. Mason Graham, great value at 5. I think him with Myles Garrett, you're building a great defensive front. I think Schwessinger, he brings some energy to the defense. Judkins and Dylan Sampson as your running back tandem, excellent. Yeah. We talked about in our running back episode that we wouldn't be surprised if a team double dips and kind of drafts their power and their speed here, and Cleveland did just that with Judkins and Sampson. They restructured Jerome Ford's contract this past week, so he's getting less money, so he's probably but this essentially signals that Nick Chubb is not coming back with the Jerome Ford taking the pay cut. I think Ford will be playing over Sampson early. I do think Judkins will be the starter. I agree. But it wouldn't surprise me if come midseason, Dylan Sampson just overtakes Jerome Ford.
I agree, dude.
That's a great punch. You're a lot higher on Judkins than I am.
Oh, dude, but you do not know how high I am on Judkins, baby.
I love the tandem between Judkins and Dylan Sampson. And in redraft leagues, I think you can make a case that Quinshon Judkins should be the second rookie running back drafted over Amarian Hampton.
I love Amarian Hampton. I would take Judkins in a redraft league this season over Hampton. I'm telling every listener right now, when we kick into fantasy football talks, I will not stop talking about Quinshon Judkins. He's literally going to be the Nick Chubb of this offense. His short burst to hit offensive lines is so much like Nick Chubb. He's so explosive in the short distance area. I think they're going to feed this man, and it's going to be a beautiful sight for fantasy football. I'm so high. I love this draft, though, for sure. And I'm not going to give him credit for Sanders at 144. But Dylan Gabriel, he's going to be a lifetime backup for this team. Mm-hmm. And he's a guy that I can guarantee if he has to play for the Cleveland Browns, he's a quarterback that can easily make this offense work. He doesn't need the big arm. He's super quick. He's super poised. He knows when to get rid of the ball. He's really good at reading the defense. I like the Gabriel pick. It's a little bit early. I get it. But if you know you have a starter in Joe Flacco this year and now you have 2 first-round picks, you can easily move up and get a quarterback next year. So I think the Browns are one of the teams that are already in the quarterback market for next year's quarterbacks. There's like 4 or 5 that could possibly go in the first round.
How do you feel about Harold Fannin? The Browns have Njoku. This guy's
and they never used Njoku until now.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me because this team still has no wide receivers. Like they brought in Deontay Johnson, but that guy's a bum. Cool. It's really Cedric Tillman and Jerry Jeudy here. It wouldn't surprise me if they try to throw
Elijah
Fannin
Moore's
in
not
the
there
slot.
Anymore, is he?
Who? No,
is Elijah Moore still there? Okay.
No, Buffalo loves their slot receivers.
I think we're going to see a lot of Fanning and Njoku on the field at the same time. Yeah. They run a ton of 2 tight ends, and it's 2 shifty guys that you can move around and use as chess pieces however you want, because they're both almost like receivers. They both move so quick for a tight end. And Njoku's huge, dude. So, like, it's a good mix. It just stings me with how long it took them to be able to use Njoku properly, that I'm worried it's going to take them that long to figure out how to use Harold Fanning.
Yeah.
But if they already have a game plan for Fanning...
Kevin Stefanski figured out David Njoku pretty early, and he's still the coach.
That's true.
I think Fanning's going to be this team's slot receiver. Right now, it's Jamari Thrash.
How Thrash coming out last year?
Not me.
But yeah, no, I expect both these guys to be on the field a bunch.
Yeah. But
I don't think it hurts Njoku's fantasy value at all. But
no, it was a weird draft, real roller coastery. But they got good players.
I like a lot of it too. Yeah.
So no Travis Hunter, so they don't get the big flashy pick. But Mason Graham, real good football player. Quinshon Judkins, great situation for him. Power back Dylan Sampson, perfect compliment. Harold Fannin, we'll see how he's used. Kind of a weird pick. That's like my least favorite pick, and I like Harold Fannin, but
still a little bit early.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes here with that. Gabriel Sanders. This is anti-Cleveland. They're just drafting quarterbacks and hoping one of them sticks.
Hey man, you might as well.
And Carson Schweinsteiger, I think is the perfect linebacker backup. Kind of just plug and play. Like put him somewhere, let him just roam around. I don't think he's going to start early, but I think he's going to play meaningful snaps, special teams. He's going to do a little bit of everything, and then pass rush situations. It wouldn't be surprised if they put him out there and just let him roam loose.
For sure. Yeah. Graham adds a ton to this defense. So does Schweizinger, dude. And the defense was already stacked, dude. So they know what they're doing. The line's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Sanders falling, or are you just going to kind of skip it?
Hey, we could talk about.
No one in the world saw this happening.
No. Dude. It is great value at 144.
It is. And I wasn't high on Sanders at all, and I even had him ranked higher than you a little bit, but I still think you see him more as a franchise quarterback than I do in my eyes.
But I see him as
who cares?
A stopgap quarterback. I think he's the kind of quarterback who could bounce around teams and just always be a starter somewhere, not necessarily one franchise. Like Kirk Cousins, but not as good. Like Cousins, where he goes is always starting. Washington, Minnesota, Atlanta. That's how I kind of saw Sanders' career trajectory. But I would love access to the Shadur Sanders interview tapes, because that's what it had to be
for them, dude. Especially the ones with the Giants, dude. Yeah,
that bombed this whole thing for him.
There were reports that he didn't take his interview seriously, and he just kind of seemed like he didn't want to be there. And I would only assume those had a huge impact on all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if he pans out, dude, even if he's fine, but I expected his career to be more like an Andy Dalton kind of thing, where he's playing for 6 to 7 years, starting consistently for that amount of time, but then just transfers into a backup quarterback who's still a really good backup quarterback. Andy Dalton's still slinging the rock, dude. Yeah. But from the looks of it, the NFL just sees him as a backup quarterback, dude. And if he went in the 5th, dude, that's rough.
And in that situation, you don't want your backup quarterback to have that kind of diva mentality, which is why Dylan Gabriel ultimately went in front of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Dylan Gabriel's ultimate professionalist kind of comes in and do the work.
Anything you ask Dylan Gabriel to do, he's going to do. But you need him to draw up quarterback plays and just look at clipboards for 6 hours. He's going to do it. So it sucks for Sanders' attitude, but maybe he gets it straight and he can,
maybe this will humble.
It's a good spot to be at. The Browns don't have a quarterback, so you got to beat out a 40-year-old man in Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, who can't throw a football. So
and
who's your
Dylan Gabriel, who on tape you're better than?
Yeah, I really liked Dylan Gabriel.
Deshaun Watson.
Oh, we're not going to talk about that guy. I really liked Dylan Gabriel at Oregon and his tape and whatnot, but I'm sorry, Shadur is just a better Dylan Gabriel. That's what he was. So for Dylan Gabriel to get picked 50 picks higher than Sanders, dude, I was actually shocked.
Yeah, it was wild. Also annoying, because I got tired of it come day 3. But the ratings blew in. It was like the most watched day 3 in NFL draft history. So.
Mel Kiper was unbearable on draft night, day 3. Yep. I hated watching that, dude. That really bothered me.
Baltimore. First round, classic Baltimore. Great player falls in their lap. Malachi Starks, first round, 27. Oh, hey,
even
round.
better in the second.
Chick 59. Mike Green, edge rusher, Marshall. So those sexual allegation stuff probably played a role in that. Sure. I heard that some teams didn't like his answers in interviews when they asked him about it. So Baltimore's taking the shot. Great shot. Emory Jones in the third. Fourth round, Teddy Buchanan, the linebacker from Cal. Fifth round, Carson Vincent, offensive tackle, Alabama A&M. 4 6th-round picks, Bilal Cohn, corner, Western Michigan. Tyler Loop, place kicker, Arizona. Now, starting kicker. They cut Justin Tucker. LaJonte Wester, wide receiver, Colorado. Robert Longerbeam, corner, Rutgers. In the 7th round, Garrett Dillinger, guard from LSU. It's a classic Baltimore draft.
It's fine.
Good football players. Nothing flashy.
I like a couple of these names, but for how many picks they had, they barely had guys in my top 100.
Yeah, they did only get 2 guys in my top 100, but those were 2 guys in my top 15.
I had Emory Jones in my top 100, so they had 3 in mine. But I like Cohn, the corner from Western Michigan. I like that's good value in the 6th, but
I think him and Longerbeam.
I do like Longerbeam. Yeah.
I think there's a chance they play this year. Like, Baltimore needed corner depth.
They just had a lot of depth. That's just what they did. I'm not going to sit here and badmouth Baltimore's draft. Who am I to say Baltimore didn't draft well? Baltimore only drafts well. They just drafted guys that I think are going to be backups.
I missed one of their picks. They picked Aeneas Peebles as well, but I don't have that on my docket.
That happens. It's a good pick. I do like that pick a lot. But yeah, they just, from what this draft was designed to make your teams better, just depth, big bodies on the line.
He was another 6th-round pick. So
another 6th.
Add him to that list of 6th-round picks. Aeneas Peebles, the defensive tackle from Virginia Tech. But Baltimore's a good football team, so they didn't need a lot.
Exactly.
They needed depth guys.
Yeah.
Mike Green and Malachi Starks.
The top of their draft is phenomenal, dude.
Robert Longerbeam, he's probably going to be the backup nickel to Kyle Hamilton. I think that's a fine spot for him. Yeah. Teddy Buchanan's real good athlete. He's going to be a special teams guy. Peebles will spill on pass rush situations. They got a starting kicker, whatever. Bilal Cohn, good depth. Emory Jones, good depth. They're playing him at tackle, too. Yep, he's going to be backing up Roger Rosengarten. Garrett Dillinger, good depth. LaJonte Wester gives them a depth piece to Zay Flowers. He is a Zay Flowers clone. And then Carson Vincent is their kind of lineman. He's 6'8". He's a giant.
Yeah, huge.
So this is just a classic. Just we need depth, fill the roster, draft, and I think these guys will just be fine football players. They're not going to be meaningful guys. Sans those top 2 dudes in Starks and Mike Green.
It's a better version of the Cincinnati draft in my eyes. Like, Cincinnati just had good guys, depth pieces. Yep. Baltimore obviously had like double the pick Cincinnati did, and they just did it here and there. But yeah, I love the top of their draft for sure, dude. To get Mike Green in the 2nd is phenomenal.
Yeah. And then Pittsburgh, 1st round, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon. 3rd round, Caleb Johnson, running back from Iowa. 4th round, Jack Sawyer, edge rusher from Ohio State. 5th round, Yahya Black, defensive tackle from Iowa. 6th round, Will Howard, the quarterback from Ohio State. And 7th round, Dante Kent, the corner from Central Michigan. Pittsburgh, just another fine draft.
Yeah.
They had minimal picks, but Derek Harmon, great pick. Love that. Caleb Johnson.
The Derek Harmon.
That's my dude. I think Caleb Johnson landed in a great spot. Like,
for sure.
Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, the only thing stopping him from meaningful carries, that doesn't scare me away from Caleb Johnson at
He
all.
is going to be their starting running back.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that. Pittsburgh did a ton of work on the running backs in this draft class, so it makes sense that they ended up with one. And I think they got the best one-cut running back in this draft. And Pittsburgh is going to love the hell out of Caleb Johnson. Dude.
Jack Sawyer wasn't in my top 100, but I love where they got him. 123,
yeah, for
good
sure.
value.
Yep. Same with Yahya Black.
Will Howard was in my top 100. They still don't have a quarterback, technically. Aaron Rodgers, still not signed.
He's kind of there.
So, we'll see. But Will Howard is the perfect. He's going to be like Dillinger. He's going to be their backup quarterback for a long time.
For sure.
And Pittsburgh retains guys. Like, he's going to be their new Mason Rudolph. He's just going to be there forever.
Just going to say that. He is a better version of Mason Rudolph in my eyes. I think he's just going to be there for a ton of time.
Yep. I think 6th round, that's great value for him. This is just it's a good draft class. Nothing flashy. It's much like Cincinnati's, much like Baltimore past their top 2 picks. Like these are all B drafts in my eyes. Sans Cleveland.
Yeah, where Derek Harmon, that's pretty close to where I had him at 21, but everyone else is pretty much a good value. Like I had them ranked higher than that. I had Sawyer a little bit higher than 123. I had Black a little bit higher than 164. Will Howard higher than one.
Black was not my cup of tea. He wasn't even in my top 200.
Okay. Yeah, I had him at like 150, 140, if I had the right number off the top of my head. So like, I love what Pittsburgh did. They just kept scooping up guys of value in my eyes.
Caleb Johnson was in my top 30. Derek Harmon was in my top 15. Will Howard was in my top 100. Jack Sawyer was 101. And they got him at 123. So good value there. But Cleveland, I would give the edge to best draft in this division, then Baltimore, then Pittsburgh, then Cincinnati.
Yeah, I would go Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati.
Okay. All right. The AFC South, the Houston Texans, they traded out of the first round. So they had 2 second-round picks. They drafted Jaden Higgins, wide receiver from Iowa State, and Ariante Ursary, offensive tackle from Minnesota. And in the 3rd round, they drafted Jalen Knoll, wide receiver from Iowa State, and Jalen Smith, the corner from USC. 4th round, Woody Marks, running back from USC. 2-6, Jalen Reed, safety, Penn State. Graham Mertz, quarterback, Florida. 2-7s, Keontae Hamilton, defensive tackle, Rutgers, and Luke Lachey, tight end from Iowa. I love the top of this draft class.
Yeah,
Jaden Higgins, Jalen Knoll, together again. Sorry to Tank Dell. His season is officially over. Like they announced he's not going to play this year. I don't know if he ever plays again for Houston.
I don't even know if he's going to play again. I don't know if he's going to ever recover from this one, dude. Like he tore every major ligament and dislocated his kneecap. You're not going to find many bigger Tank Dell fans than me, dude. And it breaks my heart, but I love that they replaced him with one of my favorite receivers in this draft. I love Jalen Knoll, dude. So like, him and Higgins, I love that. Ursary, everyone wanted Ursary in the 2nd round. Houston was one that happened to get the trigger. Huge for CJ Stroud. Got a really good tackle. Ursary's going to be a dog in this league, dude.
Yep.
I really like what they did, dude. I like it.
I like what they did at the top. After that,
I think Woody Marks adds a ton of value to this team. He wasn't my cup of tea there. But for what they need him to be, he's going to get a ton of catches this year.
Did not like that they gave him a 3rd next year to draft Woody Marks. Jalen Smith, I thought, was a 6th-round guy. They drafted him in the top 100. I like Jalen Reed in the 6th. That's good value. Graham Mertz, he's a backup quarterback, but
in the 6th, it is what it is.
Luke Lachey, fine value in the 7th. I think he is
good value for sure. I like that pick.
Good backup to Dalton Schultz. So
the slowest man in the NFL got a very slow man backing him up.
Yeah,
but I like Luke Lachey a lot.
I really like the top though. Jalen Knoll, Jaden Higgins, pairing them up with Nico Collins. You're looking at probably my favorite receiving crew in the NFL. And then they got my Minnesota baby, Ariante Ursary. I think those top 3 picks are great. After that, I was pretty hit or miss minus that Jaden Reed pick. That.
I think Knoll has a legitimate chance to beat Kirk out by midseason for the slot receiver on that team. I like Christian Kirk a lot, but I think Knoll he's such a dog, dude.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see Jaden Higgins in the slot there.
I think Higgins is starting.
On the outside.
I think Higgins is going to start.
Houston plays 3 wide, so their starters are 3 receivers. That's why
I think it's going to be. Yeah. I think it's going to be Nico, Higgins, and Christian Kirk to start.
I think Higgins is going to play the slot
over
Kirk, though. Yeah. I think we'll see a rotation between those 3 guys, Kirk, Higgins, and Knoll, slot and outside reverse. But I think Higgins and Collins will always be on the field.
I think like they also brought in Higgins because Nico missed time last year. He's obviously not a guy. He needs to show that he's more reliable out there. And Higgins is going to be a perfect replacement if Nico happens to miss time again. And they just brought in Knoll, who's a perfect filler with Higgins. We've seen it at Iowa State, and it was flawless. Yeah, dude. Houston got it. Go help CJ Stroud. He's already on his 3rd year. You only got a couple more years of not really paying him. So go get him weapons.
We can count the days of John Mechie being a relevant piece of this offense.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Their receiving crew is completely switched over from last year. It's completely different.
Yeah. Indianapolis, 14, first round, Tyler Warren fell into their laps, tight
They
end
got
Penn
him.
State.
Hype.
Second round, JT Tui Maloau,
Great
edge
pick.
rusher, Ohio State. Justin Wally, corner from Minnesota in the third. Jalen Travis, offensive tackle, Iowa State in the fourth. Fifth round, DJ Giddens, running back, Kansas State. 2-6, Riley Leonard, quarterback, Notre Dame, and Tim Smith, defensive tackle, Alabama. And then in the seventh, safety linebacker hybrid from Wisconsin, Hunter Wohler. He'll be a special teams guy. He's going to be beneficial there.
Yeah, for sure.
Riley Leonard, developmental piece there.
Hey, I like Tim
the end
Smith,
of
man.
Anthony Richardson there. Who knows what's going on? Because like Riley Leonard, really similar to Daniel Jones.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see how that goes. I love DJ Giddens. He was a top 5 back for me in the class. They got him at 151, which doesn't seem right. So perfect backup though to Jonathan Taylor. This gives them something they didn't have at running back in this juice that Giddens provides. Justin Wally, had I got to him earlier in the process, he was one of my latest guys watched. He would have been in my top 100. So
okay, see, I think that's a little bit rich, but I do really like the player. Like, I don't want to, I just a little bit too early, but I'm not going to stop that from me loving this draft. I love what Indianapolis did.
The more I watched of Justin Wally, the more I'm like, this guy should have been in my top 100, but I didn't want to do too much finicking around after we had already posted the episode, so I kind of left my rankings as is. Tumaloau, a little rich at 45, but I had him in like 54. But he's the type of edge they didn't have. They didn't have this kind of more power edge rusher.
Yeah, like a more
Tyler
just
Warren,
consistent and ready edge rusher.
Tyler Warren's what the missing piece of this offense. Now they just hopefully get a quarterback who gets these guys the ball.
That's what it is. They have great receivers. I love their receiving room. And all the mocks came true. Every mock had Tyler Warren going to Indianapolis at one point, and it paid off. I really like what they did, dude. I love Tyler Warren. I like JT. I love DJ Giddens. I like Tim Smith a lot. I think he's going to bring a lot to that line. You like Wally. I think it's a little bit too early, but I do really like the player. And Jalen Travis is just a good offensive line piece. He's going to be a depth guy. So I think they got like 2 starters right off the bat, and then DJ Giddens is going to be a really good rotation guy, and Wally could end up being a good starting corner at some point.
Yeah. And then really good special teams player in Hunter Waller.
In Hunter Waller, for sure.
Jacksonville, they're the team who traded up. They got Travis Hunter, wide receiver corner, Colorado at pick 2.
They got the guy.
2 third-round picks, Caleb Ransall, nickel safety from Tulane, and Wyatt Milam, who they're playing at guard from West Virginia. 2 fourths, Bashal Tootin, running back from Virginia Tech. And my guy, Jack Kaiser, linebacker from Notre Dame. 2-6, Jalen McLeod, linebacker edge hybrid from Auburn. Ryan Lane, the third, safety from Navy. And then Jonah Mannheim, center from USC. And LaQuint Allen, running back from Syracuse.
We talked about them going offensive piece at 5. They traded up to 2 and got the offensive and defensive piece in this draft. So they gave up a bunch to get him, but if he ends up playing both sides, dude, it was worth it. And now Trevor Lawrence has 2 really good receivers. So he's got Hunter, he's got Brian Thomas Jr. Let's see what they can put together, dude.
Yeah. Fantasy-wise, this is great for Brenton Strange. No tight end drafted, so
for sure.
This might be his room, though they got Minnesota Viking legend Johnny Munt backing him up, and Johnny Munt cuts in the playing time.
He certainly did last year.
Johnny Munt is very Cade Otton, so sleeper-wise, keep an eye on him with Liam Cohen, who had Cade Otton last year. Bashal Tubin, I think we're seeing the end of either Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby here.
I think it's Tank Bigsby.
And I think Tootin brings something to this offense they don't have from the running back position. That's juice.
For sure. Yeah.
I love that pick. LaQuint Allen, I think, is a good complement to that. He catches the ball, which Bashal Tootin cannot do. So
very true.
I like that. I like Wyatt Milam where they got him, 89. I had him in my 90s, so pretty much where I saw him. I think he's going to be a starter in the future at guard for them. Travis Hunter, superstar, next to Brian Thomas Jr. Fantasy-wise, does not scare me away from BTJ. If anything, it just keeps me on my dude there.
Both those guys are going to be good.
I love what they're building here in Jacksonville. I am all in on the Jaguars and the vibes. I love Jack Kaiser. He was in my top 7 linebackers. I ended up moving him out of my top 5 after I watched some more guys, but I think he's a good football player who's going to, be a good backup piece who could play in if guys get hurt, just like I felt about him during our linebacker episode. I think that's good value. Caleb Ransall, he was just outside my top 100, but he's a good depth piece. He can play nickel, he can play safety, and this team needed defensive back help, and obviously Travis Hunter gives you that if they're going to play him both ways.
Yeah, I think they're going to lean on him more receiver and then kind of fade him in at cornerback here and there. He gave up a bunch to get him. I do get it. It's fine. I'm not as high on Tootin as you are. I'm not crazy about the draft class. Overall, it's fine, but I think it's a bunch of reaches. I think if you would have moved everyone down around, I think it would have been a lot better. I think Renshaw was like a little bit early at 88. Wyatt Mimo, I'm not crazy about, but I get it. You got to get some type of offensive line out. Tootin at 104.
Well, you had Milam higher than I did, so that was
I had him around 89. I had him like I think I had him at like 87. So it's a fine pick. It's fine. None of these guys besides Travis Hunter really stand out.
Tootin was in my top 100. LaQuint Allen I had way higher than 236. I thought that was great value as well.
See, I like that pick more than the Tootin pick.
Okay. Finally, Tennessee, they had the first pick. They drafted Cam Ward, obviously quarterback from Miami. Second round, Oluwafemi Oladejo, the edge rusher from UCLA. Third round, Kevin Winston, safety from Penn State. Fourth round, Chimere Dike, wide receiver, Florida State. Fourth round, Alec Ayumaner, wide receiver, Stanford. Dike went to Florida, not Florida State. Fifth round, Jackson Slater, interior lineman, Sacramento State. And then sixth round, Marcus Harris, corner Cal, and running back from Michigan, Khalil Mullings.
Yeah. Cam Ward, great. One of my favorite picks of the draft, obviously. Femi is way too early for me at 52. I'm not crazy about that pick, but I love the Kevin Winston pick at 60, or was that 82? So 82. Kevin, if you just watch those two guys, and that's why I'm fine with it at the end of the day. So you still end up with both those guys, and then you're getting Cam Ward, two completely different weapons in the fourth round. I like Ayumaner, just a huge big body receiver from Stanford. He's got a little bit of catch issue. He can't really catch the ball. Obviously, that's your number one job as a receiver. So hopefully just get him in front of Jugs machines, get his hands working. Though. Oh, for sure. He makes unbelievable catches sometimes. He's just not consistent with it. And DK is going to stretch the field for when Cam Ward starts running around playing hero ball. DK is going to slip through the secondary and be deep down the field. And I like Jackson Slater as a good line piece as well. So yeah, I like what Tennessee did.
Well, you also like Marcus Harris. He was one of your guys.
Corner from Cal.
DK, I think, is a good. He gets to learn behind Tyler Lockett, who signed there right before the draft. And I think they got similar game style, so I think that's a good play. And Eligai Maynor gives them just this big body guy who they can keep on the outside and throw jump balls to if he can develop into that. I thought that was good value for him. I wasn't as high as him as a lot of people, but I had him at like 120 on my board. They got him at 136.
I was gonna say we weren't nearly as high, but he went lower than even we had him ranked. Yeah. So I like to see it. Pretty good value for Tennessee at that point.
Yeah, I think DK is a good receiver for Cam Ward. I like him in dynasty value.
I agree.
Kevin Winston, I would have much rather him go 52. I would have liked that more with Oladejo at 82, but
100%.
That is what it is. I think Kevin Winston could start day one. I had him in my top 50. I think he is a damn good football player. And I think Oladejo gives you some juice, and he'll likely be a rotational piece early on, which is what he needs to be. So let's not throw him in right away.
Yeah, he's not ready. He is very raw at edge rushing. But yeah, I think Tennessee hit pretty well in this draft. You're obviously not looking at a bunch of starters, but if you get your franchise quarterback, you got him some weapons. You got a really good safety in my eyes and a pass rusher that you can play here and there. So yeah, I like what Tennessee did.
I think this whole division's a bunch of Bs.
Yeah, for sure. They're all very pretty close.
Yep. I would go Jacksonville, Indy, Tennessee, Houston.
Indianapolis 1, Tennessee 2, Jacksonville 3, Houston 4.
Yeah. All right, and then the AFC West. We got the Denver Broncos. First round, Jahdae Barron, corner, Texas. Second round, R.J. Harvey, running back, Central Florida. 2/3, Pat Bryant, wide receiver, Illinois, and Savion Jones, the edge rusher from LSU. Quay Robinson, the edge rusher from Alabama in the 4th. Jeremy Crenshaw, the punter from Florida in the 6th. And the 7th, Cole Loner, tight end, Utah. Have you heard anything about Cole Loner? I didn't watch this guy.
Nope, not a goddamn thing.
He had 4 catches all year.
Got drafted, baby.
All 4 were touchdowns.
Touchdowns? 100% success
College
rate.
basketball player.
Nice.
Sean Payton has a tight end type. And
I was going to say Sean Payton loves college tight ends or college basketball players.
Seventh round, I'm fine throwing the flyer at it. If it sticks, it sticks. If not, whatever, you tried. Denver needed a punter. That's fine. 2 completely different edge rush types. Savion Jones, a little more power. Quay Robinson, a little more pizzazz.
I like both those guys.
I do. I think they're both good compliments. Pat Bryant in the top 100. Love to see it. Still a little rich for me, and I love Pat Bryant, but he gives them another big body guy with Cortland Sutton, and he can kind of play in the little middle like Mike Thomas. So I think that's kind of the role they're gonna.
He could be his Colston too.
Marquise Colston.
Yeah.
Again, Sean Payton's got a type.
Exactly. Sean Payton and R.J. Harvey is his type.
Yeah.
I was so hyped.
Little rich.
Not for me, baby. That's
60.
That's where I had him ranked.
He was like 92 on my board. So.
I had him dead on at 60, baby. R.J. Harvey's my baby, dude.
Okay.
And I'm so hyped that Sean Payton sees him the way I do, dude. R.J. Harvey to the moon at this point in fantasy as well. I think he's got a huge upside.
This is a classic. Like, Sean Payton likes his guys and he takes them. He doesn't care where people see him.
He does not give a fuck. Yep.
Pat Bryant, like him. Wasn't in my top 100. Sean Payton loves him. Drafted him in 74. R.J. Harvey, Sean Payton's like, just get my guy. I don't care that he's a 3rd, 4th round guy. Get him at 60. Jahdae Barron, great value at 20. Him with Patrick Surtain.
Dude, they have the best defensive football. They have the best defensive football, hands down, dude. Denver's going to be scary next year.
Yeah.
I hope Bo Nix takes that step forward, dude.
Yeah.
God bless Bo Nix, baby.
This is a team that could compete to win that division.
100%.
For sure, especially with bringing in Evan Ingram as well. We can't forget about that. We'll see. We'll see if R.J. Harvey's the guy. With estimator Jaleel McLaughlin, there's not a lot keeping him from starting.
Yeah,
this year for them.
I'm so excited for R.J. Harvey, dude.
Yeah, Jahdae
When
Barron,
I seen him do, dude, at fucking UCF. Oh my god, dude, his tape was probably the best running back tape I watched.
Yeah, it was a solid draft class. A little rich for R.J. Harvey for me, but.
See, I had him dead on at 60, so I thought that was the spot for him to go, and I was so excited for it.
Yeah. Kansas City, Josh Simmons, pick 32. They traded down one spot, got their offensive tackle.
Very
Ohio
weird
State.
Trade, dude.
Hey, Philly had to lock it in. Maybe somebody else.
They had to have some type of intel that someone was going to jump up, or I don't know what they did. So
2nd round, Omar Norman Lott, the defensive tackle from Tennessee. 3rd round, 2/3, Ashton Gelati, the edge rusher, Louisville, and Noel Williams, corner from Cal. 4th round, Jalen Royals, wide receiver, Utah State. 5th round, Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker from Oregon. And the 7th round, Brashad Smith, running back from SMU.
Yeah, I really like this draft class, brother. Yeah.
What a good draft. Jalen Royals at 133.
Dude, the value there is unbelievable, dude. He is so good. He's so smart. He's so clean at routes. And I think he has a chance to really flourish here in Kansas City.
If Rashee Rice gets suspended, I think he plugs right into that spot. Hollywood Brown's always hurt. I think he could play that role. Like I think there is a path for him to be on the field a lot here in Kansas City. Yep. Josh Simmons, he gets to sit a year most likely. He can develop. Omar Norman Lott, this is the perfect situation for him. He gets to be a rotational piece, and that's what he was in Tennessee.
He can do exactly what he did at Tennessee, and that's
Ashton
what he's going to flourish.
Is great value. Like,
yeah.
They're getting Steve Spagnuolo just these rotational dudes to just bring in and do what he wants to do. And Noel Williams, I think there's a chance.
I love Noel Williams too. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the top 5 picks, and
Brashard Smith too, 7th round.
Dude, Brashard Smith has sneaky dynasty value, dude, right off the bat.
It's a deep running back room. Pacheco's there, Kareem Hunt's there, Elijah Mitchell's there, but Kareem Hunt's aging out. Elijah Mitchell and Pacheco, neither of them can stay healthy. And
He
Brashard
also
Smith
does
is a
what they
pass
don't
catcher.
do.
Yeah, he's essentially replacing P. Ryan in this offense.
Yeah, and who P. Ryan was on the field at very valuable moments. If Smith shows that he's reliable in camp, come midseason, he's going to need to be on the field on third downs, big receiving plays. Smith has some type of value in like deep dynasty leagues. Just try to get him late.
Yeah, I think this is a really good class. Again,
For sure.
a lot of depth pieces and rotational guys, but again, Kansas City's got a great roster. That's what Jalen Royals to me, though, 133, incredible value for him. I think he's going to be, we're going to be looking back at like, oh, why did we let Jalen Royals fall to Kansas City?
There was a chance we look back at this draft and be like, how did Jalen Royals fall to them? And then how did they get the best offensive tackle at 31 in the draft? How did that even happen?
Yeah.
If Josh Simmons pans out, because he was hurt last season at Ohio State, but the 6 games he played, he looked like the best offensive tackle in this class.
Best tackle tape, yep.
This draft could end up being amazing for Kansas City. I would have liked them to hit offensive linemen one more time. It's a real big weakness for this team. But I'm not going to sit here and question late round picks for Kansas City. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, this tells me they're confident they're locking up Trey Smith long term.
Yep.
And it tells me they got some confidence in Kingsley Suamatea at guard.
Yeah, I just need to see that. I need to see some performance out of that boy. You were higher on him than I was last year.
Las Vegas, the Raiders, they did it.
They got him.
Pick 6.
They got him.
Ashton Janty, running back, Boise State, to the moon. Fantasy football, dynasty, redraft, top 5 pick.
Yeah, TJ's going to be hyping that boy up all season.
Yeah. Jack Besh in the second round, wide receiver, TCU.
Baby. I love that pick.
3 third-round picks, Darian Porter, the corner from Iowa State, Caleb Rogers, the guard from Texas Tech, and Charles Grant, the offensive tackle from William & Mary.
Great
2
pick.
fourths, Dante Thornton, wide receiver, Tennessee, and Tonka Hemingway, defensive tackle, South Carolina. 3-6, J.J. Pegues, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. Wide receiver, quarterback, Tommy Millott from Montana State. And the guy he played in the national championship there, Cam Miller, the quarterback from North Dakota State. And then in the 7th, Minnesota Golden Gopher linebacker, Cody Lindenberg. It was a really good draft class.
Hell yeah, dude, for sure. I loved it.
Pete Carroll's just coming in here and just drafting good football players.
He understood, dude. He understood that he's not there for 10 plus years. He needs guys that are going to get onto that field and are going to play right now. Janty's going to be really good right away. Jack Betch is probably going to be their
You're looking at 2 starters right there.
Number 3. Yep. Right off the bat, instantly. And Porter's probably going to start too.
Dante Thornton he's his vertical stretcher, which is what they got Trey Tucker for a few years ago. But Trey Tucker I don't think is going to hold anyone back. So Dante Thornton could essentially, we were looking at potential starter here. Charles Grant, really good depth on the offensive line from tackle position. Caleb Rogers, same thing at guard. I think both of them might have a potential to start in the future.
I agree.
We had Tommy Millott. We got this wild card. Who knows what he's going to bring to this offense. Hemingway and Pegues, really good football players, really good depth pieces on the offensive line. Darian Porter, incredible athlete at the corner position. Take the shot on developing him. Like Pete Carroll, he's got the type. He loves these big body corners. Look at Tariq Woolen.
Yep.
And he draft Porter and Cody Lindenberger, special teamers, just guy who's going to, can fill in here and there if he makes the roster in the 7th round. Yeah, I think Vegas hit it out of the ballpark. Great draft.
For sure. Vegas understood what they needed to do. And they added really good linemen late in the draft with Tonka and Pegues. Dude, I don't have much negatives to say about this. And like you said, dude, like Carroll has this type of corner. Porter would have fit in phenomenally back in Seattle a couple years ago when they had their great secondary. He's that kind. He's a big body, plays downhill, gets really physical. Yeah, man.
Plays special teams too. There's a spot for him
he's
going to
be out there. Yeah. Oh, easily.
Yeah.
So yeah, Vegas, they did it. Great draft.
Yeah. Especially they need that in such a deep competitive division here.
Great division, dude.
Yeah. Los Angeles Chargers rounded out. Amarian Hampton, your guy, running back, North Carolina.
My baby.
First round. Trey Harris, wide receiver, Ole Miss in the 2nd. Jamari Caldwell, defensive tackle, Oregon in the 3rd. Kyle Kennard, edge rusher, South Carolina in the 4th. Keandre Lambert-Smith, wide receiver, Auburn in the 5th. Aronde Gadsden, the second tight end, Syracuse, and Bronson Taylor, the guard from Pittsburgh, in the 6th, with also R.J. Mickens, the safety from Clemson. And then 7th round, my favorite name, Trickweezy Bridges, corner from Florida.
Great name.
Didn't watch him, so can't give any insight on that guy.
Yeah.
R.J. Mickens in the 6th round, though. Like, this guy was almost in my top 100. I think that's great value. I think there's a chance that we're talking about him as a starter at some point this year for this team. And again, be looking at it like, how'd this guy fall in the draft?
Yeah. I'd Kyle Kennard in my top 100. They got him at 125.
Yeah, you liked Kennard more than I did, but 124, great value for Kennard.
Yeah.
Jamari Caldwell, if he can stay off his ass, he's a fine football player.
Yeah, he's fine.
A little bit of reach for me. Trey Harris at 55, also a little bit of a reach, but he's the kind of wide receiver they didn't have there. And Keandre Lambert-Smith, similar to him. They're both these big physical X-type receivers that this offense was lacking. Amari Hampton, long-term value for fantasy is great for dynasty. Redraft leagues, I'm not going to take him over Judkins. I probably wouldn't even take him over Caleb Johnson. And obviously I'm not taking him over Janty. Janty's RB1 for all rookies. You'd kind of exclude him from the conversation. I
would put him 3. I would go Janty, Judkins, Henderson. Only because I think Najee's going to be in the mix, but come like week 8, 9, 10, I think it's just going to be Amari and Hampton after that, dude. Essentially, Najee's only there for a 1-year deal after like the contract, the way it plays out. Hampton's going to be the guy. He's so good. He does everything a hardball could ever ask out of a running back. He's going to be the 3-down back. It's just that Judkins doesn't really have that competition like Najee behind him. So I would go Judkins a little bit earlier in redrafts, but Dynasty Leagues, Hampton should be pick 102 every single time in Dynasty Leagues.
I know you're not high on him, but I loved Aronde Gadsden, the big wide receiver.
It was a little bit early, but I love the landing spot.
Yeah, but I don't have this receiving threat at tight end, so I'm in. That wasn't early for me. He was in my top 150. I loved Gadsden.
Yeah, I had him at like 180, so it's just like 20 picks. So I'm not like hating the pick or anything. It's a good landing spot.
I love that landing spot. They don't have this receiving type like Will Dissly and Tyler Conklin are there, but Gadsden gives them more juice at the position. And like I said, I love R.J. Mickens. I think there's a chance this guy is a starter for this football team at some point.
Yeah, Mickens is great value. Lambert-Smith was a little bit early for me as well.
Yeah. I did not like that pick, but he's,
really good. He's surrounded by really good picks, so I'm not going to hate it. I really like Trey Harris. I think Trey Harris has a really good dynasty value. Redraft, maybe not this year, but he later in the year might have some value. He's the guy that you want to start watching later in the season.
Yeah. Ranking wise, I'm still giving the edge to Kansas City. I like their class the most. Vegas would be 2. I think them 2 are far away better than the Chargers and the Broncos. I would have the Chargers 3 and the Broncos
4. Kansas City, LA, oh man, Vegas, Denver. But it kills me to put Denver last, dude. I love their draft class. Yeah. I would all of these like mid Bs, high Bs to As. They're all very equal in my eyes. Everyone in this division, and that just shows how competitive that division is. All 4 of them knocked it out of the ballpark here in my eyes with the draft. So that division only is going to get better.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the NFC.
Only 13 minutes over. That's not terrible.
Yeah. We're trying to keep this to 2 hours, an hour on each. So we're going to cruise through here. Thankfully, we got the Falcons, Commanders, and Vikings who had no picks. So the Washington Commanders will start their first round. Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle, Oregon. Second round, Trey Amos, corner, Ole Miss. Fourth round, Jalen Lane, wide receiver, Virginia Tech. Sixth round, Kane Madrano, linebacker, UCLA. And seventh round, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, running back, Arizona. Connerly was a little early for me. He was in my 50s, but I get it.
But they got Trey Amos so late, dude.
Amos, that 61 I thought was great value. I also love Jalen Lane. He was 113 on my board. They got him at 128, so I thought that's good value. Good slot receiver there to pair with Terry and Deebo Samuel. And then I think Krosky-Merritt, Brian Robinson, they worked him into the ground. Austin Eckler can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
I think there's a world where this guy gets playing time. He's a sneaky stash in Dynasty.
I agree.
And just a guy to keep an eye on, but I thought that was good value in the 7th round. But also for Brian Robinson, this shows that they're confident in him going forward. Mm-hmm. So he just remains this reliable RB2 flex guy for the fantasy season.
Yeah, they've just been committed to that guy, and you love to see it. He's shown that he's good when he's healthy. So, but yeah, Connery's a little bit early, but the run on offensive line, like you said, so many offensive linemen in the first.
They weren't getting an offensive tackle at 61.
No, it was not going to happen. So I get the pick at 29. Is that where he went?
Yep.
Yeah, 29. But to get Amos at 61, dude, that's amazing value. Lane at 126 is good value. It's just hard to judge a draft class off 5 picks, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I like 4 of the 5 picks a lot, but that's not a lot. That's only 4 guys, dude.
Yeah.
We're looking at draft classes that go 10, 12 picks deep.
They hit on needs. They got a running back, they got a receiver, a corner, and an offensive tackle. It's just a matter of they did what they could with the minimal supply they had. But I thought it was an okay draft class. Not my favorite,
sure.
but Amos in the 2nd, Jalen Lane in the 4th. I really like those picks a lot.
Yeah, those 2 picks definitely stand out 100%. Yeah. The Amos pick a ton, dude. I love that pick.
Dallas Cowboys, 1st round. They took Tyler Booker, guard, Alabama. 2nd round, Donovan Ezaraku, the edge rusher, Boston College. 3rd round, Savone Ravel, corner from ECU. 2 5ths, Jadon Blue, running back, Texas, and Shamar James, linebacker, Florida. 6th round, Johnny Cornelius, the tackle from Oregon. 3 7ths, Jay Toya, the defensive tackle from UCLA. Phil Maffa, the running back from Clemson. And Tommy King Basodi, the defensive tackle from Maryland.
Good job.
Yeah, I didn't watch him, so and
he's top.
And what I did see of him, he was overshadowed by Jordan Phillips.
Yeah, but these top 3 picks, dog, phenomenal,
incredible. That
phenomenal.
All 3 were in my 2. Ezaraku and Ravel were in my top 25, and Booker I think was
Booker
in my
higher
top
than you did.
35. Yeah.
But
still.
I people freaked out about the Booker pick at 12. I get it. He's not super athletic,
again,
but he is a guy that's going to get in that offensive line. Yeah, exactly.
The board.
Exactly. So, you were not going to get a guard like Tyler Booker in the 2nd. No guard in the 2nd was close to Tyler Booker. But you got Donovan Ezaraku in the 2nd. He was a 1st-round guy in mocks for months.
Like if someone showed you this draft and it was Ezaraku at 12 and Tyler Booker at 44, you'd be like, this is an incredible draft.
I mean, if somehow Tyler Booker fell to 44, I would have been shocked.
Jadon Blue, I thought this was good value where he went. I wasn't as high as him as the NFL, and neither were you. But this is the kind of back. This is the kind of back Dallas didn't have. They don't have a speed back.
I agree.
They got these clunky dudes in Javonte and Miles Sanders. He's just a much better Deuce Vaughn.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like Deuce Vaughn, he's gone. Adios, my friend.
Yeah, Blue's going to serve a role for the Cowboys for sure.
Yep.
I like it a lot.
Jay Toya, he should start. He's better than Mozzie Smith right now. I would play Jay Toya over Mozzie Smith immediately.
I get it.
Jay
Toya, for sure.
I love that guy.
I'm not crazy high on Phil Maffa either, but man, he's also a sneaky guy to watch. And I think there's a chance they double dipped and both of these guys are their backs.
Yep. Sanders and Williams only have 1-year deals and they were dirt cheap. So Dallas isn't afraid to just play rookie guys. So
exactly. I think there's a chance that Maffa and Blue are the 2 running backs next season for this team.
There's a possibility. I think Jadon Blue is going to play a lot this year.
Oh, I agree. Blue's going to play
Ravel
a bunch.
in the 3rd. Obviously, the ACL caused him to fall, but they took their shot.
Crazy. Like a week before the draft, Revel was starting to get above Trey Amos talks, like late first talks.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all just switched. And I get he has injury history this season, but if you go back to his 2023 tape, he's an easy top 15 pick.
Yep.
Like if Revel comes back healthy here for Dallas, it's a game changer.
And Trayvon Diggs probably isn't playing this year. He's hurt.
Yeah.
So if Ravel's got the clean bill of health, you're looking at starting outside corner from the jump for them.
Yep.
I think that's a great pick. I thought Dallas killed it at the top of the draft. Ezaraku is the pass rusher they need opposite Micah Parsons.
He's just a more consistent option.
Yep. Jay Toya, like I said, I would start him right now over Mozzie Smith. I think he's better at what he does than Mozzie Smith.
Mozzie Smith just busted, dude. He's not it.
Johnny Cornelius, good depth piece of tackle. Tyler Booker, lock and loaded starting guard for 10 years.
For sure.
My biggest gripe with Dallas is they didn't address the receiver position. They didn't get any weapons here for Dak Prescott, and they need another receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb.
I hear you. What happens if by the next time we record or 2 weeks from now that Amari Cooper is back in Dallas?
Excellent. You bring
and then
it's not even
a worry.
Guys.
Yeah,
I agree. But at the point of the draft, you didn't have one of these guys.
Yeah, I do get it. Yeah,
like in the 5th, I'd rather have them gone with a receiver than Shamar James. I don't know who was on the clock off the top of my head, like who was there.
Yeah,
but
152. I don't know what receivers were on the board. I agree to that, but. If we're talking that they get Cooper, who I would prefer, I would love Cooper back in Dallas. But even if they get Keenan Allen, and then it's just not even a worry, they didn't go receiver. They have CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper, or they have CeeDee Lamb and Keenan Allen. Or I think Dallas makes a move for one of those guys to fill out that receiver room come camp time.
Mm-hmm. Like, Torrey Horton was on the board.
That would have been a good pick, dog. Big Torrey Horton fan. I hated to see him fall.
Would have picked him over Shamar James. So
for sure.
I would have picked him over Jaden Blue. So
that's
my biggest gripe, because like when I'm grading a draft class or rating it, I'm looking for filling needs and also depth in the class. So Dallas filled a bunch of needs. They had a great class. Yeah. It's just they didn't address one major need at wide receiver.
For sure. Yeah, I agree.
Philadelphia. First round, they traded up one spot, got Jahad Campbell, the
Birds.
linebacker from Alabama. Of course, a great player falls to the Eagles.
Dude,
second round, they drafted Andrew Makuba, the safety from Texas. 4th round, Ty Robinson, defensive lineman, Nebraska. 5th round, Mac McWilliams, defensive back, Central Florida. Kyle McCord, quarterback, Syracuse. Miles Hinton, offensive tackle, Michigan. Cameron Williams, offensive tackle, Texas. Antoine Powell, Ryland, edge rusher, Virginia Tech, all in the 6th round. And that's their draft class.
It's good. It's fine. It's not last year's draft class. Last year's draft class, they blew out of the water, dude. It was phenomenal. It was one of the best draft classes I've ever seen.
On a scale where it's just like, this is a good draft class, but Howie Roseman,
but is it good for Howie Roseman?
Wonders. Like,
I do really like the class, though. I really like Campbell. I think he's going to be amazing. They got him at 31's a steal. Makuba's going to be a dog for this defense.
A little rich for my liking. Xavier Watts and
I agree.
Kevin Winston on the board. I would have taken both of those guys over Makuba, but Makuba gives them this field stretcher who could, if Sidney Brown or Reed Blankenship don't hit the mark this year, Makuba could slide in. So I do understand the spot there. Mac Williams, really good backup nickel to Coop DeJean, or if they want to move DeJean to play outside if Keely Ringo doesn't,
the need.
They also drafted Smail Mondin, who I didn't put on the docket either.
This guy's missed 2 people on the docket. I really like the Ty Robinson pick, the lineman from Nebraska at 111. Yeah. He's just another guy to throw into that rotation, keep guys fresh, big body guys, and they just know how to get after the quarterback. Like, look at their amazing playoff run. They were constantly getting after quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl, the prime example. They didn't blitz once, and they just constantly got after Mahomes. Philly knows what they're doing. And to add Campbell behind those guys now, dude, Campbell's going to be amazing when he's fully healthy, dude.
Yes. Smail Mondin is the linebacker from Georgia. They got him in the 5th round. But Jod Campbell, Nakobe Dean's coming off an injury, and he hasn't been great. So,
no, I think Campbell replaces Dean at the end of the year.
Him next to Zach Vaughn, Jalex Hunt, and Nolan Smith as your other edge rushers.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're cooking with fire there.
The
and
chicken
Antoine Powell Ryland,
and the mac and cheese.
Antoine Powell Rowland,
in the
designated
6th,
pass
what are we
rusher.
talking about here, dude? Yeah.
Great pick there. And then Cameron Williams and Miles Hinton, these guys go into the best offensive line coach in football. Cameron Williams was a great
Cameron Williams pick is crazy at 207, dude.
Yeah.
I almost had him in my top 100.
Yep, he was 102 on my board.
Yep, and of course Philly goes a quarterback. They always throw a dart at the quarterback in the draft because
a great one too.
It's just so much value. Philly has easily done the most value out of a backup quarterback out of any team in the NFL. So Tanner McKee's right now their backup. if he ends up having to play a game or two because Hurts goes down, expect Tanner Key to get dealt in the offseason, kind of like Kenny Pickett did.
Yep.
And then Kyle McCord just steps right into that backup position, and he's going to get dealt in 2 years for a 5th or 6th round, 7th round pick. It doesn't matter. Yep. It's just value for these teams. And Howie Roseman knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Rock solid draft class.
Sure.
They filled depth needs. Hinton or Williams, one of them is going to pan out and be a starting tackle for them in the future.
100%.
And 6th round, like, incredible value. And Ty Robinson, good rotational piece in the 4th. They had a really good class.
Yeah.
Right. Your New York Giants, 2 first-round picks. Abdul Carter, the edge rusher from Penn State, pick 3. And then you guys traded back in, drafted Jackson Dart, the quarterback from Ole Miss. Darius Alexander, defensive tackle from Toledo, in the 3rd. Cameron Scadaboo, running back, Arizona, in the 4th.
God strikes me with that one, dude. He's like, oh, you really love Jackson Dart, huh? All right, I'll give you Dart. But hey, by the way, you got to get Cam Scadaboo. Oh, God, man.
5th round. Insane value in my eyes. Marcus Bowe, guard center from Purdue. 2 7s, Thomas Fedone, the 2nd, tight end Nebraska, and Corey Black, the corner from Oklahoma State. Nicholas, you guys did it.
Thank you. I agree.
You guys did it. This is an A draft. This is
it's an A in my eyes. I agree.
5 guys in my top 100. Marcus Bowe is in my top 50. You got him 100 spots later.
100 spots later, dude. Yeah.
Like, I have been on this, like, the Giants for the first time maybe in your lifetime have great depth on the offensive line.
Yeah, our line is looking decent. I really think we're not going to be good. We're not going to be good. But with Wilson and a tolerable line, we got Malik Neighbors, who's a top 8 receiver already in the NFL. And we have an amazing pass rush, dude. We're going to be competitive. I'm not going to say we're going to win a bunch of games, and I don't want to be clipped as, oh, this Giants fan's being biased. I just think we're going to be really competitive, dude. And I think Brian Dable kept his job. And I think Joe Shane also kept his job regardless of what happens.
This is because 2 years in a row where you guys have murdered the draft in a good way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like, Jackson Dart's going to get his chance next season, and I think we keep Brian Dable because we're going to be competitive.
Mm-hmm. So that's my least favorite pick. But
I was way higher on Dart than you were, yeah.
Darius Alexander.
Dude.
He went right around where I have, and I thought that was great value. 65.
Unbelievable.
Yep. Perfect compliment to Dexter Lawrence.
Like, Scadaboo's my least favorite pick, obviously, but I get it. Like, everybody loves this kid, and he plays hard. I'm not going to sit here and say he doesn't play hard.
Yeah, Brian Dable loved him.
I just don't see his playing style transitioning to the NFL. And, man, he's in a good spot. He's in a perfect rotation. Yep. It's spicy. I like it. I really like what we did.
Yeah. Corey Black, good depth piece. I
he's
liked
a good
him better
quarter.
than 246. I like Fedone, too. I had him in my top 200 as well. So pretty much value across the board. Like, Jackson Dart was really the only reach on my board. But I get it. You got to pay extra for a quarterback. This is an incredible draft class for you guys. Well done.
We didn't even pay like a bunch. Like, we swapped. We traded. We gave up a second to get a first. And then we just gave up 2/3. Atlanta gave up a whole ass first round pick next year to get an edge rusher. And I get it. An edge rusher is the second most important position probably behind a quarterback, to be honest.
3rd in my eyes. I value offensive tackle more than a quarterback.
I would go offensive line. I agree. Personally, yes. But edge is one of those positions, dude. And I think Atlanta gave up way too much. We'll get there, obviously. But we only gave up essentially 2/3. And that's not much if it's your franchise quarterback, dude.
Well, you gave up a second.
But we got a first. The first and second cancel out.
Okay.
That in my eyes.
I see what
so
you're
we
saying.
only lost out on 2/3, which I'm perfectly fine with. Like, we walked away with this draft class. If we added another third to it, would it even be that much better?
Yeah. There's a chance you got 5 starters in this class.
I agree. 100% agree. And I do not like Cam Scadaboo like that. But I had him at 120. It's not even, I only had him 15 spots lower than he got drafted. So I don't even really hate the value of Scadaboo at 105.
You just hate the player.
Yeah. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Nah, dog. I hate the player, dog. There was one guy in this draft class I hated, and no offense, it was Cam Scatterpoo.
Yeah. Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders is how I'd rate the division.
I would go Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, Commanders.
All right. NFC North. Chicago Bears, pick 10. First tight end off the board.
Dude.
Colston Loveland from Michigan.
I get why it happened, and I love that it happened. How do you feel about him playing in Chicago, big dog? I know you love Loveland, dude.
Still do. That's my guy.
Hell yeah, dude.
He is going to be Ben Johnson, Sam Laporta. This is an incredible landing spot.
Sure.
He is going to shred. He's going to be great.
I don't want to, because we're the Everyman's podcast. I don't want to make fun of the Everyman, but so many people were dogging the Bears. Oh, they drafted Loveland over Warren. They're two completely different tight ends. Yeah. They don't do Loveland is a receiver, and he's going to be Ben Johnson's best friend, dude.
Yeah. Look at these guys. Look where Ben Johnson came from. The tight end he had, Sam Laporta. Colston Loveland, similar skill set to Sam Laporta. Look at Tyler Warren, skill set similar to a guy like Dallas Goedert. Shane Steichen is the head coach in Indianapolis, and he came from Philadelphia. So it's just a scheme thing.
It's all a system. Exactly.
He was back to back on my board, him and Tyler Warren. So there was a minimal gap, and
they were both top 10 guys in this draft class. So it doesn't. Yeah. For him to go over Warren isn't really too much of a shocker in my eyes.
Yeah. 3 second-round picks for the Bears. Luther Burden, the third, wide receiver from Missouri. Ozzie Trapillo, the offensive tackle from Boston College. Shamar Turner, defensive tackle from Texas A&M. 4th round, Ruben Hippolyte, the second, linebacker from Maryland. 5th round, Za Frazier, corner from UTSA. 6th round, Luke Newman, guard from Michigan State. And in the 7th, Nick Guy.
Nick Guy, you shut up. Nick Guy, I had him retire. Kyle
Monungai, the running back from Rutgers.
Truly your guy. Amazing draft. Truly amazing draft, dude.
Yeah, the Bears hit neat. Luther Burden, right where I had him ranked, I had him a little bit lower. I had him at 41, but 39. Great value. What a receiving crew they're building there for Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Roma Dutze, Luther Burden. Ozzie Trapillo, he might be a starter in a year or two at left tackle, which is bold. I don't see him as a left, but he's a good football player. Colston Loveland, he's starting. He's the guy, tight end. Monungai in the 7th, in a running back room that's not great. This guy could be their David Montgomery.
It's also crazy that everybody wrote off DeAndre Swift coming into this draft. Oh, the Bears have 2 seconds to draft in Swift's replacement. Nah, dog. Guess who still has somewhat fantasy value because of the draft? Swift's still sitting there with Ben Johnson as the coordinator, dude. Swift has pretty good value in fantasy.
Yeah, I think we're going to be I still think we're looking at a 3-way split here with Swift, Johnson, and Monungai. I think they're all going to play a part here.
I agree, but I think Swift's going to be the guy. If I had to pick one of them, I'm I'm tying my trailer hitch to Swift,
the guy that's
unfortunately.
Getting paid a ton of money, yeah.
Yeah.
Shamar Turner gets to sit behind Grady Jarrett.
I love that spot, dude, for Turner.
And he is a Dennis Allen guy. It wouldn't surprise me if he plays a little bit defensive end too, like he did at Texas A&M 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Ruben Hippolyte, not my cup of tea. Undrafted grade.
132 is way too rich, dude.
They got my dude Za Frazier in the 5th.
I love that value at 169.
Yep. He was in my top 125.
Ruben.
I thought that was a good pick. The Bears, this was a great draft for Chicago.
For sure. And yeah, dude, you brought up, dude, Monungai has the chance to be the power guy, just the steady hand.
It's like Ollie Gordon in Miami. He's the type of back that Chicago is missing.
Yep.
So there's a role for him there for Ben Johnson.
Yeah, for sure. And in any other running back class, Monungai is probably a 5th, maybe even an early 4th, just because of how steady he was at Rutgers. But we got 30 backs that were drafted in this class, dude, so I get why some of them are falling. Him and Damian Martinez, who fell.
Marcus Yarns went undrafted.
Breaks my tiny little Grinch heart that Marcus Yarns got undrafted, but he signed. He's with the Saints.
Saints, yeah, good value.
I think that has some type of value. Yeah, we'll get there.
Detroit. First round.
Yeah, shut up. I get it. You were right. I was wrong.
Tyleek Williams, the
Dude,
defensive tackle from
Before
Ohio
you
State.
even start naming off picks, I truly believe that they picked every single person around early, and I will stand on that hill.
Well, I mean, I didn't have Tyleek Williams as a first round guy, but I said he would, if he went late first, it wouldn't surprise me. He's that kind of safe floor player that you look for that late. But yeah, I would agree with that, except for Miles Frazier in the 5th. I think he could have been a 3rd round guy.
Yeah, you were higher on Miles Frazier than I was, but in the 5th for Frazier is good value. I'll give you that one for sure.
Tyleek Williams, defensive tackle, Ohio State in the 1st. Your guy, Tate Ratledge, guard, Georgia in the 2nd. 3rd round, traded up. They traded 3 3rd-round picks for this guy.
This one confused me, dude.
Isaac Taslaw, the wide receiver from Arkansas. I love him, but that's wild.
He's like Tim Patrick, so I don't understand. They have Tim Patrick, who I don't like.
Tim Patrick's always hurt.
Yeah, he's never gonna play. Like Tim Patrick, but Tesla at 70, dude.
Miles Frazier in the 5th. Ahmad Hassanain, the edge rusher from Boise State in the 6th. 2-7, Stan Jackson, safety, Georgia, and Dominic Loveland, wide receiver, Georgia. Dan Jackson's going to be on this team. He's this gritty special teams guy. Dan Campbell's going to love him.
Dan Jackson sounds like a white guy from a Key and Peele sketch at the end of their football names. Dan Jackson, safety, Georgia. That's such a white guy name, dude.
This is a Dan Campbell draft now. You can tell these are all just gritty, put your nose in the dirt football players. Tesla's going to block his ass off, play hard. Miles Frazier, Tate Ratledge, just bully guards.
Dude, Ratledge and Williams are legitimate Lions. They fit the culture there so well. I just wish they were in the 2nd and the 3rd instead of the 1st and the 2nd. Everyone's just drafted a little bit too early.
But look at it. Tate Ratledge probably wasn't making it to their 3rd. Tyleek Williams
isn't going to make it to their 2nd. I get it. You're drafting late in the rounds.
Was probably going to make it to their 4th.
One of their picks. Yeah.
But yeah, they fill needs a deep roster here. They got Tyleek Williams to eat up space next to Liam McNeil, Frazier and Ratledge getting them depth on the offensive line. It wouldn't surprise me if both those guys are starting. Like Christian Mahogany is going to lock up one of those guard spots, but it wouldn't surprise me if Frazier surpasses him and Rutledge starts at the other. Taslaw, again, I think he beats out Tim Patrick, or Tim Patrick just gets hurt and he just plays over him.
I agree. And they gave up a bunch for him, and he has really good draft capital, dude.
Yeah.
370, that's great draft capital.
Combine warrior. He blew up at the combine. Good football player. He's fun to watch. So
he's fun to watch for sure. His tape is good.
I look forward to seeing where he projects it. But like you said, it was a reach on almost every pick there for them.
Like I love the players, and you love Williams obviously more than I do, but like all of these guys I really like. It's just they're just a little bit too early. But again, Detroit's really good at drafting, dude. So who am I to sit here and be like, you're drafting these guys too early? But like you said, they're not going to be there at the following picks anyway. So you just got to get your guys. Sean Payton kind of aspect.
Yeah. Green Bay, 1st round. They did it finally. Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas.
I think they only did that to get the pop. I'll die on that hill.
Get the cheap pop. They did it again in the 4th round too. 2nd round, Anthony Belton, tackle, North Carolina State. 3rd round, Savion Williams, wide receiver, TCU. 4th round, Barron Sorrell, edge rusher, Texas. 5th round, Colin Oliver, edge rusher, Oklahoma State. 6th round, Warren Brinson, defensive tackle, Georgia. 2-7s, Marcus Robinson, corner, Tulane, and John Williams, offensive lineman, Cincinnati. The Packers are just going to do their thing. They're going to draft guys that they really like. They don't care where people look at them. This is not my cup of tea. Belton was just inside my top 100. Savion Williams, not in my top 100. Barron Sorrell, I think he's a good football player. Colin Oliver, the 2 games he played last year, he looked really good, so we'll see if he projects well there. Warren Brinson's a good depth piece. This is really banking on Matthew Golden being the guy, and I don't know if Matthew Golden is the guy.
I don't trust Golden, dude, and I don't know, dude. I just don't. I agree. I do not like this draft class. I wasn't high on Golden as everybody else. Like you said, Belton was low end top 100. I had Savion Williams in my top 100, but he was very low. I think he was in my 90s. I like the Barron Sorrell pick. Colin Oliver's all right, but like, there's just nothing here that really stands out. Like, I get you went flashy, you got your receiver. Does he change the room at all? Does he not just add to this room of receivers that are all kind of there? He's not a number one receiver in my eyes.
He's better than Dontavian Wicks.
Oh, 100%. And I love Wicks.
Christian Watson probably not playing this year. And
he's gone after.
It's going to be late. So he's an upgrade over Romeo Doubs, and I'd say he's on par with Jaden Reed.
See, I disagree. I think Reed's way more like talented than Golden. And I think Romeo Doubs is more consistent.
See,
I'm not going to sit here and say Doubs is better than Golden. Do not get that misconstrued. But I think he's more consistent and ready for the NFL than Golden is.
Yeah, this is a weird class.
It's a weird draft class. Yeah. It's a weird draft class, dude. I don't know. I think Savion Williams is fun. I don't know if he's going to pan out at all, but he's fun.
Yeah, they just added another guy to the wide receiver room who is like Jaden Reed. He's like
he's a running back. He's a running back.
He's a receiver on the depth chart.
I know, I get that, but I think he's going to have more catches behind the line of scrimmage than he does in front of the line of scrimmage this season.
But that's what they do with Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed does a little bit of everything. He's kind of like their chess piece.
I think that's going to ultimately be what Savion Williams will be if he sees the field, and then Jaden Reed.
Yeah, if he can develop.
I think he is the backup to Jaden Reed if Jaden Reed gets hurt. I think Matthew Golden is the upgrade over Wicks or Watson, and then Doubs will just be the outside guy who never gets any production.
I think Doubs still has his role. I think Golden is to replace Christian Watson, who's hurt, and he's going to be off the team next season anyways.
Yeah, but Matthew Golden's not really a field stretcher.
Exactly. He's fast.
Make Jaden
I get
Reed
he ran
the field stretcher. Like
it's weird.
It's a convoluted receiving room where everyone's almost the same and there's no alpha. Like Josh Jacobs says they need an alpha. They went out and drafted a guy who's not an alpha.
Not an alpha.
He's a wide receiver too, but that's what they have already. So weird class. I like the Barron Sorrell pick. I think that was their best pick. I like the dart throw of Colin Oliver as well. But the top of the class, really weird. Like I like Matthew Golden. I just don't like him in Green Bay.
I just wasn't as high on Golden. He was my receiver 4 for counting Hunter, I think.
Minnesota. 5 picks.
Speaking of 4 or 5 picks.
Yeah. First round, Donovan Jackson, guard, Ohio State. Third round, Tay Felton, wide receiver, Maryland. Fifth round, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, defensive lineman, Georgia. 2-6, Kobe King, linebacker, Penn State, and Gavin Bartholomew, tight end, Pittsburgh. The Vikings went out in the offseason, filled the roster up, and didn't really make a lot of moves on draft day. They locked up the offensive line.
I think Donovan Jackson solidifies your offensive line as one of the best offensive lines in football.
Yep. They are going to protect J.J. McCarthy, and then they traded for Sam Howell, who will now be the backup quarterback there. So they went out and got a quarterback during the draft.
You guys went out and did a lot of stuff in the offseason to where you guys could do whatever you wanted in the draft. And you walked away with a guy who's going to start on your offensive line this season. And then Tay Felton, who's a really good Jordan Addison replacement. Or just a really good number 3 if you had to lock down both those guys.
There's also a chance that Jordan Addison might get suspended. He had that DUI last year, so that's kind of lingering.
That is true.
So there's a chance that Felton, maybe they had the intel, they know he's going to miss 3 games. That's usually the case.
It's true.
So Tay Felton might be the starter there for 3 games. Keep an eye out there, but that was a luxury pick. Minnesota's receiving room, kind of deep. Jefferson, Addison, Jalen Naylor, Rondale Moore, but Tay Felton adds that, and he's on par, if not potentially better than those 3 guys.
Dude, and I love Felton, dude. I loved watching him at the combine, dude. He's so smooth. He's clean. His routes are crispy. He's my kind of guy. I loved him here in Minnesota.
5th round, your dude.
My baby.
Tyrion Ingram.
Yeah, dude. Great for your defensive line, dude. He's a piece.
You're not going to find a better dart throw upside guy in the 5th round than
100%.
him.
Especially with Brian Flores, dude.
Yeah.
Brian Flores is going to have an absolute blast with Ingram Dawkins, dude. He's going to be coming up with crazy blitz packages for this dude. He's so much fun. I hope he's ready and healthy, dude. And his head's in the game, dude, because when his head's in the game, he's a freak, dude. He's a dog.
This reminds me of when we took the shot on Daniil Hunter.
Yeah. 100%.
Years ago. This could be one of those big payoffs. Gavin Bartholomew, he's going to replace Johnny Munt. Kobe King,
he's a good backup tight end.
Guy as linebacker, special teamers. Vikings signed a ton of undrafted free agents.
Minnesota
Golden Gopher, Max Brosmer.
You guys were always doing that, though. Like Minnesota, I remember like 10 years ago, you guys were just always quick to undrafted free agents constantly, dude.
Good culture. We'll do that.
And as a Giants fan, dude, I'm jealous because we always get like 4 or 5 guys undrafted, and that's it. We don't do undrafted free agents, so I love seeing your guys' list.
Guys want to come here. I'm excited for Max Brosmer. Your guy Ben Urasek and Bryson Nesbitt also signed up. Likely neither of them make the roster, but good names. We'll see.
Yeah, they were good prospects.
I think Brosmer has a good chance to be the QB3 if they want to carry 3. He's only got to beat out Brett Rippon. So
Brett Rippon. Oof.
Yeah.
Crazy that guy's got a job.
My only issue was they didn't really get a running back, but we traded for Jordan Mason in the offseason.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. I don't think you really were in the market.
Yeah.
Like, I get people like, oh, Aaron Jones is, but you guys traded for Mason. So, like, you have your backup. And he showed last year with the Niners, dude, he's ready to go. And you guys almost run the same running back system as the Niners. So, he's just going to easily slide right into that if needed.
Yeah. Bears, Lions, Vikings, Packers.
Bears, Lions, Vikings, Packers. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. I would have you guys really close to the Lions, though.
Yeah, I think us in Detroit, I
really like Jackson. I love Detroit's Felton coming out of Maryland, and Tyron Ingram Dawkins. Huge fan on this guy, so I love your top 3.
All right, Tampa Bay, NFC South. Emeka Egbuka in the first.
Wild. I did
wide
not
receiver, Ohio State.
So many big analysts had Tampa Bay going receiver, and it was usually like Golden, and I'm like, I don't see that. I don't yada yada. And then they pick up Luka, dude. My jaw dropped, dude. But I like the fit, dude. It's fun.
Benjamin Morrison, the corner from Notre Dame in the 2nd, and Jacob Parrish, the corner from Kansas State in the 3rd. David Walker, edge rusher, Central Arkansas in the 4th. Elijah Roberts, edge rusher, defensive tackle from SMU in the 5th. And in the 7th, Tej Johnson, wide receiver from Oregon. Not the flashiest draft, but these are just good football players.
Yeah, dude, they're all those just
first 5 picks.
Yeah, dude, exactly. But even the Tej Johnson pick, I really like the football player Tej Johnson.
Take the shot.
Like, even at the Senior Bowl, he was putting people in a body bag on routes, dude. So if you can somehow harness that to where he doesn't get destroyed by NFL-sized humans, he's gonna be fun to watch. Yeah. It's just that is his side is gonna hold up.
Yeah, Tampa Bay.
I really like these guys.
Really good roster. Egbuka, Godwin, Evans, they're locked in, and I would say Jalen McMillan locked in at wide receiver. Those 4 guys.
100%, yep.
And then if they're going to carry 6, you're looking at a battle between Sterling Shepard, Trey Palmer, Tej Johnson, Will Shepard.
I think Sterling Shepard makes the team. Him and Baker Mayfield are like legitimate best friends outside of football, so I think Shepard makes the team.
Yeah, Egbuka, great pick. Like Chris Godwin. Who knows what his injury's looking like? He also is injury prone. Like Evans gets banged up a lot as well. Doesn't miss a lot of time, but
he always plays hurt though.
Yep. So Egbuka,
he's also getting there, dude. Mike Evans is old. Is he gonna push his 1,000-yard streak, or is he just gonna hang him up at some point?
Yeah, like this year,
dude, I'm hyped for the Bucs fantasy wise.
They're filling depth in case of they're trying. They have a good roster, and
for sure.
They're getting depth at receiver for Godwin and Evans if God forbid one of them get hurt again.
They really helped out that secondary, dude.
Yep. And defensive line as well. David Walker is an edge rusher. Elijah Roberts, good chest piece, move around in the line. Yep. Ben Morrison, Jacob Parrish, that allows them to potentially move Tyke Smith back to safety and start Parrish as the nickel, or just gives them some pieces where they can move around at times. It's a really good draft. Just really good football players, and those first 5 guys I think are going to be impactful day one.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've heard a lot of reports that they've wanted to move Smith back to safety for a little bit now. Parrish gives him that option, dude, and Morris, if his hip's good to go, dude, him on the outside at 53, Woo! Now we're talking, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, now Tampa knocked the shit out of this one.
Yeah. Atlanta Falcons. Jalen Walker, edge linebacker, Georgia, in the first. Traded back into the first. Team with no picks, moving back in, giving up next year's first. They draft James Pierce Jr., edge rusher from Tennessee. Third round, Xavier Watts, safety, Notre Dame.
Your boy.
Fourth round, Billy Bowman Jr., safety, Oklahoma. And then the seventh, Jack Nelson, offensive tackle from Wisconsin.
I am so glad that they did not shit the bed and pick Abuka at 15 or some nonsense Hampton. They don't need, They understood that they need to start working on the defense. If they truly think Michael Penix is the guy, he's already surrounded by so much talent. Go get him help on the defensive side of the football. And they did that.
They did that.
They paid the price for it, though. They paid a hefty amount to get Walker or Pierce on that team.
James Pierce, Jalen Walker fell into their lap.
Great pick at 15, dude. Phenomenal
James Pierce,
pick at 15.
A little rich for my liking, especially with giving up the first. But if he pans out, you've got two great edge rushers with Walker and Pierce potentially. Xavier Watts, I think he starts day one next to Jesse Bates.
I agree.
Incredible value. He was in my top 30. And then Billy Bowman, who I loved, right where I had him. I had him at like 109. He went 118. He's probably going to play nickel for this team while like rotating in at safety. I think he gives them this chess piece to move around in this defense. He's a ball hawk. He's a smart kid. He's always prepared. I love the guys they brought in. It's just I hated how much they gave up for James Pierce. That did knock him down a bit, plus only having 5 picks also.
5 picks, yeah.
Especially
you have to look at Atlanta.
Drafted pretty well.
It's like Atlanta has thrown everything, even the kitchen sink, at trying to get edge rushers into the building. And it hasn't worked for like a decade. But at this point, let's draft one. Let's trade back in for another.
Yeah.
If it works out, it's fine. But
and now they got some depth first, dude. Like Leonard, they brought in Leonard Floyd, so he's there. They drafted Arnold Ebiketie in the second a few years ago. They drafted Braylon Trice last year in the third. So now there's names in the room. So they're developing this room. Brandon Dorless is also there. So we'll see. We'll see if this all pays off for Atlanta. If it does, hey, they potentially got 3 starters and a nickel corner in this draft.
Yeah.
Carolina. Teteroa McMillan. First round.
Hell yeah, dude.
Wide receiver, Arizona. Second round, Nick Scorton. Edge rusher, Texas A&M. Third round, Princely Umanmielen, edge rusher, Ole Miss. 2 fourths, Trevor Etienne, running back, Georgia. Find you a man or a woman that loves you as much as the Carolina Panthers love bringing in running backs. Lathan Ransom, safety, Ohio State, is their other fourth. 5th round, Cam Jackson, defensive tackle, Florida. Mitchell Evans, tight end from Notre Dame. And in the 6th, Jimmy Horn Jr., wide receiver from Colorado. I love this class.
Yeah, you were higher on ETN. I hate that pick. You've done so much to that running back room. You just wasted a 4th round pick on another running back.
This tells me Brooks isn't playing.
Brooks is not playing. Yeah, no, I agree. Brooks is not playing this year.
They're bringing in the pass catching kind of utilization back in ETN that Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard aren't necessarily in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't like the 4th on ETN. I don't like that pick at all. But I really like the top 3 picks.
Yeah, he was in my top 100. So getting him at 112, great value for me. Teteroa McMillan, I had him 9 on my big board. He went 8. He's the type of receiver they don't have. Him with Thielen and Coker and Leggett, they're building this receiving room for Bryce Young. They already have some decent offensive linemen.
All the receivers are big, dude. And Thielen's he's over 6'1", 200. That's bigger than a normal receiver, dude. And to run that out of the slot, like him, Leggett, I get 6'1", but he's like 220, dude. And Ted's huge.
Thick.
They're giving Bryce Young.
Coker's 215.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're giving Bryce Young, who's a shorter quarterback, these big body guys that just understand how to play football.
Did you see they signed Hunter Renfrow?
Yeah, I love that pick. Yeah. I actually seen an interview with it was Gruden. Someone asked him about Renfrow, and he goes, "You watch out, Hunter Renfrow is ready. He's coming back this year." And 2 days later, he signed with Carolina.
Yep.
So
Carolina's building this receiving room. They're getting Bryce Young weapons.
They've also brought in 2 big tight ends in the last 2 years. They brought in Sanders last year, and they brought in Mitchell Evans this year. Mm-hmm. They understand the assignment to get Bryce Young these big body guys because he's quick with getting the ball out, but these guys open up the field that he doesn't need to be dead on accurate because of their catch radiuses.
Yeah.
So I really like what the Panthers are doing for Bryce.
2 pass rushers, Nick Scorton and Princely Umamielen.
2 really good pass rushers, 2 that I liked in this
Cam
class.
Jackson in the 5th, I thought that was great value. I think he's a really good defensive tackle. I think Laysom Ransom, like Trevor Mowring and Damani Richardson are the starting safeties here. I think Lathan Ransom can compete for a job there, and they got him in the 4th. Jimmy Horn Jr., he's fast. He's probably going to be the kick returner.
What is he? It was like 208, dude. Like, who really cares? Like, he had a bunch of buzz coming in just from Colorado, so it's a good pick.
If they drafted him just to be the kick returner, hey, 6th round, I'll take a flyer on a guy who potentially 100%. Take one of the house.
At 208, it really does not matter who we're drafting. If you think this guy has a chance to make the team, at 208, hell yeah, pick him.
Yeah,
he
I love this
to
class.
The team, so
and
I agree.
Like you said, I like ETN a lot more than you did.
Yeah, for sure. That's the one pick I don't really like in this class.
I think this was a rock solid class. It is my other A+ draft class. It was you guys, Carolina, and New England.
Yeah, I get it. They're definitely up there for sure. It's just the ETN pick that I'm not crazy about, but the running back class is so deep, so I'm not gonna. The rankings are going to be all over the place. So,
rounding out the division, New Orleans Saints, Kelvin Banks, 1st round, offensive tackle, Texas. Tyler Shuck, quarterback, 2nd round from Louisville. 3rd round, 2/3, Vernon Broughton, the defensive tackle from Texas, and Giannis Sanker, the safety from Virginia. 2/4, Danny Stutzman, linebacker from Oklahoma, and Quincy Riley, the corner from Louisville. Devin Neal, running back, Kansas in the 6th. 2/7, Maliki Matavio, the tight end from UCLA, and Fadil Diggs, the edge rusher from Syracuse. It's a nice little draft class. Kelvin Banks, a little rich for my liking at 9, but you're going to pay a premium for an offensive tackle, so I get
it.
Tyler Shuck might be this team's starting quarterback.
I love the Shuck pick, dude. I think he can be their starting quarterback. I think he's that talented.
If Derek Carr's hurt and he's gonna miss time, that they got. I think Shuck beats out Desmond Ritter.
Desmond Ritter. I hope we beats out Desmond Ritter. No offense to Desmond Ritter. But yeah, no, I think Shuck's more talented than Ritter for sure. I like the Vernon Brogdon pick. I like him a lot. Sanker's pretty good. I like him. I love Stutzman. I liked Quincy Riley, dude.
Quincy Riley at 131, great value.
Devin Neal's my favorite pick of theirs, dude.
Yeah, he was in my top 100. And
Kellen Moore is going to want to run the ball. He did it in Dallas. He did it in Philly. He couldn't do it with the Chargers. He didn't have the running back crew. Kamara's not the guy to toke the rock, dude.
Yeah.
Kamara's great. Kamara's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. But he wears down if you start toking the rock with him a lot. Devin Neal's going to be seeing carries for this team, dude. And as a 6th round pick, he's got really good upside in dynasty football. I love Devin Neal, dude, coming out. I think he has a ton of value to the Saints running back room.
Yep. Excellent landing spot there for Devin Neal.
That's my favorite pick of theirs. And I love Danny Stutzman, dude. He was right in the top 100 for me, dude. Sanker was right outside the top 100. I really like their class. Kelvin Banks is a little bit early for me. But like you said, dude, the premium for offensive tackles, he gives them a chance to play guard this year if they don't think he's ready, and then slide him out next year when Penny leaves because they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Or just play him at tackle this year. Who cares if you think he's ready? At 9, it's a little bit rich, but to get a tackle, and if he pans out with your quarterback and a bunch of other pieces around him in this draft class, man, I like the Saints draft class a lot.
Yeah. It was a good class. I think the Devin Neal and Quincy Riley picks really stick out for me. And I love Tyler Shuck. So I hope.
Hell yeah.
I hope this is it. I hope he stays healthy and gets to prove why I saw him as on tape as good as any quarterback in this class.
For sure. 100% agree.
Carolina, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Atlanta would be how I'd rank out that division.
Carolina, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Atlanta.
Okay. All right. Final division, the NFC West. San Francisco, Michael Williams.
We're good.
Michael Williams, edge rusher from Georgia in the first. Alfred Collins, defensive tackle from Texas in the second. 2/3, Nick Martin, linebacker, Oklahoma State, and Upton Stout, corner, Western Kentucky. 4th round, 2/4, CJ West, defensive tackle, Indiana, and Jordan Watkins, wide receiver, Ole Miss. 2/5, Jordan James, your guy, running back, Oregon, and Marcus Siegel, safety from Kansas State. And in the 7th, Curtis Rourke, the quarterback from Indiana.
It's a Niners draft.
It is for sure. It is a Niner. Sure. Yep. Not crazy about a lot of these guys. Love CJ West at 112. Thought that's great value. I like him a little bit more than I liked Alfred Collins, where they took him at 46. 43. So I like that value there. Michael Williams at 11. That's my dude. That's my dude. I'm cool with it.
They went out and got Robert Saleh's guys.
Robert Saleh controlled this draft class.
Yeah, Robert Saleh he went back to the Niners as their defensive coordinator to an empty defensive room. Their defense was depleted this offseason. I think they stocked it back up, dude.
There's a legitimate chance that those first 5 picks, Williams, Collins, Martin, Stout, West, start this year.
I think Nick Martin has a legitimate chance to be a really good linebacker for Saleh. He fits the Saleh playing style. He's an undersized, fast linebacker. Yeah. Same with Stout. He's an undersized nickel safety kind of blend. And Robert Saleh knows how to use these guys to their full advantage, dude. So I get they drafted him way higher than I had a lot of these guys ranked, but they fit the Niners style so good that I don't hate it.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about Jordan Watkins. I really didn't like that.
Yeah, that one I'm not crazy about. But Jordan James under him, I love it.
Didn't have a draftable grade on him. Nick Martin was a little bit of a reach. I had him at like 175, so like 100 spots more. But again,
because he was undersized and had a knee injury, dude. Like, who's going to draft an undersized knee injury linebacker?
And linebackers are weird in general. Like they're all
exactly. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, but Curtis Rourke, he comes from Shanahan's brother, is the coach at Indiana as the offensive coordinator. So, system guy. Jordan James, you really like that spot. 147.
I love that.
I think that's good value there for him. I really like Upton Stout at 100. I think he's a good football player. It's a fine draft. Nothing.
It's a good draft. Yeah.
Out of the ordinary or like spectacular, but I think CJ West has a real chance to shine here. Same with Michael Williams. I really like that pairing. But yeah, this was a Niners draft, as you said.
Curtis Rourke gives him a little bit of a chance to Brock Purdy his ass out of town. So if they don't want to play Brock Purdy, I think there's a chance Curtis Rourke just steps in and slides in. But we'll see if they pay Purdy, dude. We'll see how this year goes.
Yeah.
He's going to run a lot.
Arizona. Walter Nolan in the first. Defensive tackle from Ole Miss. Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan in the second. Jordan Birch, edge rusher from Oregon in the third. Cody Simon, linebacker, Ohio State in the fourth. Denzel Burke, corner, Ohio State in the fifth. Hayden Connor, guard, Texas in the sixth. And Katan Crawford, safety from Nevada in the seventh.
Yeah, as you notice, I stopped saying dog after their top 3 picks.
Cody Simon is a dog, dude. That guy is a smart football player.
He's a very smart football player for sure. Yeah. I'm just not crazy about him. I think he's going to play a lot.
I like the dart throw on Denzel Ward. If Denzel Ward can put it back together,
Denzel Burke.
I don't know if Denzel Burke, sorry. If he can put it back together, that's a good depth piece, but
I agree. At the 5th round, it really doesn't matter. Like you're just throwing darts at guys and hoping they pan out.
But man, Will Johnson stays healthy.
Was great. Oh, dude, Will Johnson at what, 47?
47.
The injury must be real bad, dude.
Yeah.
Teams are petrified.
So apparently his knee injury is similar to the one that Miles Jack had that pretty much shortened his career to 6 years.
Yeah.
So
that's a big thing.
Yeah, but Will Johnson with Max Melton, Garrett Williams, Sterling Thomas the fifth, Sean Murphy Button, Denzel Burke. You got a nice corner room building here. That was a weakness. And they fixed that. Walter Nolan gets to learn from Khalees Campbell, kind of keep him in line. I love
that landing spot for Nolan, dude. Keep his ass in line.
This tells me this team has, like, their draft tells you they're confident in this offense with Kyler Murray,
100%.
Michael Wilson, Marv, Trey McBride. Like, they're like, hey, Kyler, this is the unit you got. Put it together. Like, we'll see if they overhaul it going into next year. If they don't put it together, maybe they move on from Kyler.
it's not really his job to get the ball to those guys. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But I really like the top of the draft. Jordan Birch was also my top 100. He fits the scheme there for Arizona. So a solid draft class from them.
I really like the top two. They got Nolan and Johnson and Birch. I like all three of those guys, especially Nolan and Johnson, dude.
Yeah.
Both those guys were in my top 20, so great draft on the top.
Yeah. Los Angeles Rams, they traded out of the first round. They're the ones who got the Falcons' first round pick next year. And with that second round pick, they drafted Terrence Ferguson, the tight end from Oregon. Third round, Josiah Stewart, edge rusher, Michigan. Fourth round, Jarquez Hunter, running back, Auburn. Ty Hamilton, defensive tackle, Ohio State in the fifth, along with Pooh Paul Jr., the linebacker from Ole Miss. And then the seventh, Konata Mumpfield from Pittsburgh. They had 6 picks, and 4 of those 6 picks were in my top 100 in Pooh Paul, Jarquez Hunter, Josiah Stewart, and Terrence Ferguson. Plus, they got a first-round pick for next year. Sean McVay and crew hit it out of the ballpark. I love this draft class.
Yeah, then we have 2 of the guys in the top 100 for me being Ferguson and Stewart. You're way Hunter. You're way higher on Hunter than I was, and I had Chris Paul right on the outside of the top 100. But for them to already have 2 first, they are also in the quarterback market. Them and the Browns for next season. And dude, I love the Terrence Ferguson pick. It's he went over Elijah Arroyo, which I did not like, but man, he is a field stretcher. He is a kind of Sean McVay kind of guy. He's very similar to the receivers. He's going to run a lot of drags, a lot of in routes. He's got a lot of good fantasy value, good draft capital at 246 246. So I like the Ferguson pick. I like the Stewart pick a lot. I like the Ty Hamilton pick a lot too at 146, the interior lineman from Ohio State D-line. But you were way Hunter on Hunter, but if they don't want to pick up the Kyron contract, they have Corum and they have Jarquez, so they got some type of running back.
Jarquez Hunter's the perfect fit for this offense, and
for sure.
I will go out and say he takes over Blake Corum's job. I think he's a better prospect than Blake Corum was coming out last year. I think he's a better player than Blake Corum. Like I've said, I would trust Jarquez Hunter to be my starting running back today in the NFL. I think he's going to be their running back of the future. I think that is a sign that they end up not paying Kyron Williams. He's banged up. We'll see. I hope they do pay Kyron. I love Kyron Williams. This is not
so hard not to pay Kyron
Williams slander because that is one of my dudes. But
Kyron's been so good for that team, dude. It's hard for me not to see them not paying him.
Yeah, this is one of those spots though. If Jarquez Hunter gets into a playing time situation, he becomes incredibly valuable. And
for sure.
So, Ty Hamilton, I think is a good pick. I love Josiah Stewart. And I love Pooh Paul. I think Pooh Paul is a perfect linebacker for Sean McVay. These smaller linebackers, undersized. Pooh Paul, really good football player. I think there's a chance he is a viable piece of this defense in the future. Plus, they got the first round pick for next year.
First next year is so nice.
I think he could. I think there's a world where he's like their 4th receiver. I think there's a chance he might beat out Jordan Whittington. I don't think it happens, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does.
But he fits into that room nicely. Like he runs really clean routes. He's really smart. He
he's
knows
explosive too.
The system for sure. And the guy Chris Paul at 172 was crazy value, dude.
Yeah.
Even like if he wasn't in my top 100, he's right on the outside of a lot of people's top 100s as well. So 172 is really good value. Good draft for the Rams.
Final draft: Seattle Seahawks. Gray Zabel, guard center, North Dakota State in the first. Traded up in the second, drafted Nick Eamon-Wari, the safety from South Carolina. They also, in the second, got Elijah Arroyo, the tight end from Miami. Third round, Jalen Milroe, quarterback, Alabama. 3/5, Riley Mills, defensive tackle, Notre Dame. Torrey Horton, wide receiver, Colorado State. Robbie Oots, tight end fullback from Alabama. 6th round, Bryce Cabledew, guard, Kansas. 3/7, Damian Martinez, running back, Miami. Mason Richmond, offensive tackle, Iowa. And Ricky White III, wide receiver, UNLV.
I love this draft class.
It's a great class.
I loved what Seattle did, dude.
They filled their need. They got a starting guard or center in Zabel, wherever they want to put him. Oots is going to be their starting fullback. They got a developmental quarterback to sit behind Sam Darnold and Jalen Milroe. Damian Martinez in the 7th is insane value.
That's a legitimate crime, and
I'll
preach that forever.
Tight end in Elijah Arroyo, which they didn't have in Noah Fant or AJ Barner. Like, this is a guy that's going to fall in the playing time. Ricky White, really good special teamers in the 7th round. Torrey Horton, great
dude.
value for him. It wouldn't surprise me if he beats out Marquez Valdez-Scantling and is the
I really like Riley Mills at 142.
Yeah, good depth piece behind Jaron Reed.
He was banged up this year, but man, the games he played, he was explosive, dude. He's got good upside, I think, if he comes back healthy.
Yeah, and then Eamon Wari gives you this piece with Julian Love and Devin Witherspoon and Reek Woolen. Like, they have all these guys that they can move around, play multiple positions in the secondary. I think that's a great landing spot for him. Like, he can play a little bit of inside linebacker as well there for Mike McDonald. Yeah, this was a really good class. This is my favorite of the NFC West.
Yeah, for sure. I think they won this division. But, man, I really like they did. And the Jalen Milroe pick, dude, like, at 92, you can kind of do what Philly did with Jalen Hurts. Let's let him sit this year. They had their guy with Carson Wentz. But, hey, let's take the shot on Jalen Hurts. Let's see how he develops. Yeah, we have our guy with Sam Darnold. But if Jalen Milroe shows...
Maybe Sam Darnold was the one-year wonder in Minnesota, and he was
exactly.
Now you have a stopgap potential future franchise guy to kind of ease into here in
you
Seattle.
Can never have too many developmental quarterbacks just waiting just to see if they pan out, dude. Like, if he ends up panning out, Darnold can easily be dipped next season or the end of the season. He's just a good holdover guy, and that's what Sam Darnold is. He's a really good bridge quarterback. And, man, if Jalen Milroe pans out, dude, at 92, he's got a hell of an arm, dude. So I love that.
They drafted maybe the safest prospect in Gray Zabel and then drafted the two flashiest prospects in Eamon Wari and Milroe. But
you can even say the same about Arroyo at tight end.
Yeah.
He was probably the flashiest tight end. Like, yeah, he's played almost just one season in college because he's constantly hurt. But, man, he flashed like a motherfucker this year, dude. He was so explosive, so fast, so big. If he's able to stay healthy, Seattle's weapon, big-time weapon.
Torrey Horton, I think, is a starter on this team eventually. I think
I love that pick, dude.
This was an incredible draft for Seattle. They won for this division. It would be them, the Rams, the Cardinals, and then the 49ers.
Oh, see, I would go like I would probably go Seattle, San Fran, LA, Arizona.
Okay. The extra first round pick plus having 4 guys in my top 100 is what swayed the Rams over the other 2 teams for me.
Yeah, and I only had the Rams with 2 guys in the top 100. Yeah, I didn't have Hunter or
Jordan James. You were a lot higher on Jordan James than I were. That's who the Niners got. The Rams got Jarquez Hunter. All right, there it is. Long episode, but we did it. 2. We kind of kept it clean. We kept it narrow. Yeah. Straightforward. There it is. I'm not recapping any of that.
None of it.
Yeah.
We went by divisions. You can figure it out.
Yep. There you go. Drafted Up podcast. Draft rankings.
It's good to be back, man.
In the book. Yeah. It was a nice 2 weeks off for sure. We're probably going to go once a week going forward here.
It's the off season, baby.
We're in
just
this
chilling.
lull time where not a lot's going on, so there's not a lot for us to do. Like start statting guys out here for fantasy.
It's going to be a lot of a dynasty talk, maybe for a little bit. Do a dynasty mock draft with these guys next week or the week after.
We'll be doing a rookie draft. That's probably on the docket next week. There, rookie draft. We'll do 4 or 5 rounds for that.
I like that.
Drafted Up podcast. You know where to find us at DraftedUp_pod on Twitter. Show. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Search Drafted Up Podcast, rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. Share. Support our friends over at Finley Hats. Click the link in the description for a nice 15% discount on some high-quality hats. Take it from a hat guy.
You showed me them right when you got them. They're fresh, dude. They're clean. I like them. High quality. Yep. And if anyone's got ideas on what you want to hear this offseason, dude, just shoot TJ or I a message. Shoot the podcast a message. Let us know what y'all want to hear this offseason, dude. We'll shoot the shot on anything.
Yep.
Let's get creative with it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Adios. We'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.